Tang Long felt his head sink, as if he was hit by a car and flew for several more times. The final memory was that I worked overtime until late at night, and the death report was still flashed on the computer screen, and then a dazzling flash swallowed up everything. He opened his eyes quietly, and the biting cold wind scattered the smell of the soil and rotten. It's not the smell of disinfectant from the hospital, nor the aroma of coffee at home. What kind of ghost place is this? He rubbed his son's hole and sat up. Around the surroundings are dense forests, trees are lit up into the clouds, and the branches and leaves are surrounded by strange blue light. Far away, the mountain walls are covered with the entrances of countless black holes, like the mouth of a huge beast. The air was filled with a low wind, and the unknown wild beasts roared. Tang Long's heart sank. Isn't this a dream? Traveling through time? The bridge section in the novel? Hey! Are you awake? A rough voice came from the side. Tang Long turned around and saw a burly man squatting on the ground, wearing broken leather armor, holding a pair of raw glasses in his hand. The man was covered in a beard, his eyes narrowed into a zither, and he looked at him up and down. New? Look at you, not like a local. The edge of the maze is not a place to walk, and monsters will come out at any time. Tang Long was stunned. The modern shirt and denim pants looked out of place here. He swallowed and tried to ask, "Where's this? How did I come?" The man laughed and patted his shoulder, as if he was about to smash the bones. "Boy, you are very happy and are on the patrol route of the Knights Guild. My name is Lao Zhang, and I am a low-level knight in the guild. This place is called Eland, and the world is full of mystery, things left by ancient gods, with treasures and monsters hidden in it. If you want to survive, follow me into the city. Don't be stunned and get up and leave." Tang Long was pulled up, and his brain was still buzzing. After following the old Zhang for half an hour, they came to a town made of huge rocks. There were crowds of people on the streets, and they were called crystals selling flash magic power, and the air was filled with the smell of barbecue and herbs. Among the aliens, there are spirits with sharp ears and dwarves with rough skin. Everyone has the knob badges hanging around their waists. The guild hall is the center of the town, a high stone tower with ancient runes engraved at the door. The old man opened the door and threw Tang Long to the receptionist behind the counter, a middle-aged woman wearing a single lens. "This kid is so picky, register it as a scoop. It looks like there is no weapon, so he can give him a basic sword." The woman glanced at Tang Long and passed a wooden sign. "Name?" Tang Long." He reported his name. His heart was filled with slightness. The registration process was simple like a membership card, and she wrote several notes on the sheepskin paper and put the guild seal. "Welcome to join, vegetarian bird. The purified creek is your starting point, don't die. The mission board is there, pick a simple one." Tang Long touched the wooden sign and felt as if he was holding a life-saving straw. The guild was extremely popular, and the hunters were surrounded by the mission board discussion. "I heard that there is a new boss on the 3rd floor, and the prize is a fragment of the artifact." "Fragments? That thing can awaken the power, and you can become a god by combining one set." Tang Long felt heartbroken when he heard it, and a sound suddenly flashed in his brain. No, it was like a straightforward feeling, a warm current surged from his chest. Golden Finger Awakening, the artifact fragment sensing system is activated. The host can sense the location of nearby debris to improve exploration efficiency. What? Tang Long widened his eyes, thinking that he had heard it. But the next second, a vague light appeared in his vision, pointing to the entrance of a mysterious palace outside the city. The light moves like a heartbeat, and it is hiding intimately. Is this a time travel benefit?" he murmured, his heart turning from confusion to a thrill. It turns out that it was not a waste of time travel, it was always a bit difficult. The old Zhang patted him. "Boy, why are you there? Go and practice the training. The first piece of fragments can make you lose your mind. Remember, there are so many machines in the mystery, and the monsters are not right." Tang Long clicked his head, grabbed the iron sword and leather armor released by the guild, and walked to the entrance of the Pure Land Palace outside the city. It was a low cave, with the wind and sand at the entrance, and the head was pitch black, like a deep penis that swallowed people. He took a deep breath and stepped into it. The air became damp in an instant, and the long and shiny moss on the wall illuminated the winding passage. The sound of the footsteps, accompanied by the sound of dripping water from afar, makes people feel chilled. Not long after leaving, the golden finger activated again. In the field, the light lit up and pointed to a fork on the left. The fragments are within 50 meters. Tang Long's heart beat faster and he was excited. This feels so good. Unlike other birds who are blindly revolving around, he directly locks his target. It was a little fun. He turned his waist and walked into the fork in the road, avoiding a loose stone slab, that was a trap, with spikes underneath, and easily came to a small room. Indoor, 3 green goblins are chewing around a pile of bones. They are short and ugly, with red eyes and red sticks dancing in their hands. The boss goblin is bigger, with a flash of chips hanging around his neck, artifact fragments. Gum! Invader, the goblin group screamed and rushed over. Tang Long instinctively retreated, but his brain flashed through modern knowledge. These things are weak in the eyes and connections, and the environment can be used as weapons. He looked around. There were scattered stones on the corners of the wall and water on the ground. Guided by the golden finger, he flickered over the first stick and kicked a stone and hit its knee. The goblin fell to the ground with a cry of crying, and he lifted the stick and pierced its throat with his backhand. The other 2 came up. Tang Long avoided the battle skills in the novel and the sea of mind, leveraged the force to fight. He grabbed an arm and threw it towards the wall, hitting it in his brain. The last boss goblin roared and rushed in, sticks streaked. Tang Long let out a slim heart, used the water to slid behind it, and stabbed it into his eyes. The boss twitched for a while and fell to the ground. In less than a minute, Tang Long was panting and full of joy. It was a bit exciting. He used modern logic to improve the original battle, killing the boss in one blow, feeling like a game opening. From the bird to the killer, this reverse is too exciting. The fragments slid from the boss's neck and fell into his palm. The chip was warm and ancient runes were engraved on the surface. A force penetrated into his body, making his vision clearer and his strength increased a little. It's so bad. This golden finger is a cheater. Tang Long felt unreliable inside. His confusion and smoke disappeared, and replaced it with a strong desire. Collecting debris can not only make it stronger, but also find your way home. Protect these new partners. Let's live first. Just as he wiped the green blood from the sword, a figure walked out of the passage. The burly warrior, wearing heavy armor and holding a giant axe, was Cui Hao, a senior official in the guild. He was originally patrolling the logic, and when he heard the fight sound, he saw the bird in front of him easily resolve the goblin group. Boy, what happened to you just now? Cui Hao widened his eyes, his axe still holding tightly, and his language was full of surprise. I have been patrolling this level for 10 years, and I have never seen the birds as clean and neat. Have you avoided that trap and used the environment to fight the boss? And that piece of fragments, how did you know that it's here? Tang Long smiled, put away the fragments, and tried to respond in guild slang. The atmosphere is so strong, Brother Cui. My name is Tang Long, I'm newly registered. I heard that fragments can become stronger, so I'll try to see. Cui Hao looked him up and down, his mouth under his beard opened, revealing his white teeth. Flight? Ha, this is not frightening. Boy, you have the potential. Cui Hao, look at people's standards, and it's not so simple. The monsters will be more ruthless and there are many competitors. Next time I will form a team. It's too dangerous to have a simple guild, and I can teach you how to crack the connection. Tang Long felt warm in his heart, and this rough Lu Hanzi looked reliable. He pointed, okay, Brother Cui. Let's explore together. Cui Hao laughed and patted him on the shoulder, do it. Let's go, leave the mystery first, wish you the first piece of the broken piece. I heard that there is good wine in the guild restaurant. The 2 of them walked out of the passage on their shoulders, and the sun was at the entrance of the mystery palace. Tang Long looked at the mountain bank on the far side, and his heart was filled with unprecedented expectations. The heat of the fragments is still in the palm of your hand. This strange world seems to be less terrible. Terms, 1287. Chui Hao's laughter was rumbling in the guild restaurant, like a thunderous slam over the wood. The smoke was scattered in the chamber, and the aroma of the barbecue was mixed with the sour taste of cheap rice wine. The hunters were in groups of 3 or 5, surrounding the long table to discuss. Tang Long held a glass of foamy wine, and his shoulders were still hurting. Chui Hao's slap was not something he could play with. He hid the first piece in it, and the warm touch was as active as a heart, making him unable to help but glance at it twice. "Boy, don't be stupid." Chui Hao sat down with his butt, leaned against the table, and the wine glass jumped in shock. "You will get the first piece of fragments. Your energy is simply the bond of the mystery. Come on, let's have a drink. Let's form a team tomorrow and enter the second level of the clean layer. That monster is more cruel than the goblin, but the prize is doubled. The artifact fragments are not picked up every day. If you gather a set, you can awaken your strength and change your fate." Tang Long took a sip of wine, and the bitter taste exploded on the tip of his tongue. He pointed and said, "Brother Chui, thank you. I just came here, I leaned on it all straight. What is the rules of the mystery? The guild hasn't said it in detail." Chui Hao wiped his beard, his eyes narrowed, his voice was low and his voice was as if he was telling a ghost story. "I heard it well, boy. The mystery is divided into layers. Each layer has an organic, monster and treasure. The first layer is clear, and the second layer starts. The wall will move, and the floor will hide arrows or poisonous air. Rule 1. Don't believe in the eyes and hear the sound relationship. Monsters are smelly and traps are strange. Rule 2. Fragments are hidden in the boss or secret room, and if you don't feel it, you will be wandering around, and 90% will die. Rule 3. The most important thing is a team, and one is seeking death. I will teach you how to crack the machine, and you are responsible for exploring the way. How is that?" Tang Long moved in his heart, and the golden finger felt his trump card. From a modern office worker to this place, he wanted to survive in a low voice, but the intimacy of this power was too strong. Disclaimer. Brother Chui, you take the lead, I will follow you to learn. The next morning, the fog at the entrance of the maze was filled with smoke, and the sun shone on the moss, reflecting a moist green light. The air was filled with the fishy smell of soil and wild animals, and a deep howling sounded far away, like a wind crying in a stone slot. Tang Long carried the newly matched leather armor, the iron sword in his hand. Chui Hao opened his way, and the giant axe flashed the cold light. The two people diamonded into the cave, stepped on the gravel, and developed the crispness of Titicaca. The passage on the first level was still familiar. Tang Long easily avoided a few loose stone slabs, and Chui Hao walked around and pointed, "Boy, you have a good memory. Look, this is the entrance on the second level, the rune door." The door is filled with huge stone slabs, full of twisted runes, touching ice, and hiding heat. Chui Hao groped, pressed a groove, and the door slid open, with deeper darkness blowing from it, swaying from the scent of the decaying leaves. In Tang Long's vision, the light of the golden fingers lit up, like a bolt plotting a swaying line, pointing directly to 100 meters deep. "The fragments are in front, Brother Chui, follow me this way." Chui Hao was stunned for a moment, and sniffed his axe. "I think you are coming again." "Okay, I'll hear you. But be careful. The passage is narrow, and the wall is full of long and dense vines, which feel sticky, like a living thing creeping." The air became hot, and sweat slid down Tang Long's back. After walking 50 meters, Chui Hao suddenly stopped and said in a low voice, "I heard that there is something wrong with the floor. There is an arrow trap in front of me, I'll crack it." He squatted down and pried a stone slab with the handle of the axe. There were scattered irons and slats inside, making a click sound. Chui Hao skillfully cut a few lines, and sweat dripped. "It's mostly done, but the tricky one in the middle can't move." Tang Long's heart beat faster, and his golden fingers shone with light, guiding his side. Just as Chui Hao reached out his hand, a slight wind blew from the wall, shaking the cold smell of metal. He instinctively stepped back and shouted, "Brother Chui, don't touch it. Arrows come from the right." As soon as the voice fell, the wall cracked, and several black arrows shot out, heading straight to Chui Hao's chest. Chui Hao was too lazy to get enough. Tang Long swept over, used a slab grid to slash the slab body, and the arrows wiped the slab body, sparking 4 times. The remaining arrows slashed his arm, leaving a scorching blood mark, but he calmed down and pulled Chui Hao to safety. Chui Hao gasped and got up, glaring with his eyes. "Boy, how do you know that style? Have you heard it?" "God, I have cracked it for 10 years, no one is so accurate." Tang Long rubbed his arms, and a warm current surged in his heart. This is not about luck, it is about growth. He used to only stare at the screen, and now he is trying to save people by pursuing the senses. "Brother Chui, Feng Xiang told me. Isn't the rules?" "Continue?" Chui Hao laughed and patted him on the back. "Ha, learn quickly. I have no enemies in this team with you." As we move forward, the passage opens into a hall. The ground is filled with dry bones, and the air is filled with blood and the pungent smell of wolf hair. The golden fingers shone brightly, and the fragments were right in front of them. But the hall roared lowly, and the 6 reinforced werewolf emerged from the shadow. They are a circle bigger than ordinary wolves, with hair as steel, red eyes, and scratching sounds when their claws grip the ground. The leader of the Wolf King was even more dead, with bone spurs on his back, and his roar made his eardrums buzz. "Werewolf crowd! Boy, back, I'll hold on." Chui Hao shook his axe and rushed forward. The axe blade slashed a werewolf's shoulder, and the flesh and blood were flying, and the fishy blood fog was slapped. But the wolves surrounded and the two swung towards Tang Long, with their claws on their wind. Tang Long's brain flashed through modern warfare encirclement. "Spread them!" He shouted, "Brother Chui, there are vines on the wall on the left, lead them over." Chui Hao agreed, opened his axe and retreated to the left wall. Tang Long flickered his body, and the sword stabbed a werewolf's eyes, and it fell to the ground with a howling sound. He grabbed a bone on the ground and threw it towards the other, hitting the knee joint, making it stumble. Chui Hao took the opportunity to cut off the vines and snatched the 2 werewolves. The axe turned like a windbreaker, and the blood shone everywhere. The wolf pack was fucking, but the Wolf King rushed in, and his bone spurs were like a knife, which directly hit Chui Hao's heart. Tang Long's heart sank. This is the key moment. He took out the first piece and his palms were burned. Fusion start, primary power amplification unlock. The host's physical strength is increased by 20%, and the power explosion can reach its peak. The fragments turn into light flow and flow into the body, like current flowing through the veins. Tang Long feels his muscles bulging, his vision is clear, and every nerve is full of strength. I was alone in my heart, it is no longer a dependent bird, I can lead this battle. "Brother Chui, please change me." Tang Long roared, rushed forward, and punched the Wolf King on the chin. The power surged and the fist was rushing, and the Wolf King was actually beaten and hit the wall. The bone spurs broke and it was shattered. It climbed up, its eyes flashed, but Tang Long had already bullied himself, and the sword light flashed through its throat. The Wolf King twitched and fell to the ground, and the temple roared and roared. The remaining werewolf saw the scene and made a timid sob. Chui Hao swept it with an axe and the battle ended. The ground was covered with blood, and the iron lens smelled heavy in the air. Chui Hao leaned against the wall panting and stared at Tang Long. "Boy, you punched the flying Wolf King? That's the boss level. Your war, dispersing the enemy's environment, is a simple genius. I, Chui Hao, have been with me for 10 years, but I have never seen such tacit cooperation. From now on, you say I will never go west." Tang Long wiped the blood of the sword and his inner self-confidence was like a tide. In the past, he would only hide in the office, and now he is actively trying to guide and protect his partners. This growth made him straighten up. "Brother Chui, make it stronger together." The fragments are on the Wolf King. He lifted the second piece of fragment, the crystal was like jade, and after the fusion, the strength increased again, and the wound on his arm was even matched at a speed visible to the naked eye. The pleasure is overwhelming. This is not just a battle monster, but also a turn of conquering oneself. Just as he was lucky, a sneer came from the entrance of the passage. Yi, Chui Hao, have you, the old man, picked up a lucky man? The birds beat 2 pieces of fragments and thought they were a hero? A figure walked out, a tall horned man, wearing a wolf leather armor, holding a knife. Xing Xiong, a famous ambitious man in the guild, has his eyes as sharp as a wolf, and his mouth is sneered. 2 followers followed behind him, and the badges on his waist were bright. Chui Hao's face darkened, and his axe tightened his head. Xing Xiong, this is a guild public area. What are you here to snatch? Boy, don't pay attention to him. This guy is specializing in leaking and snatching other people's fragments. Xing Xiong looked at Tang Long up and down and sneered, happy, I'm not talking about the fun of the mystery. He heard that the first block is squeezing. I want the second block. I hand it over, so I won't let me take action. He snatched the knife. His temper was so strong that there seemed to be a little more murderous feeling in the air. Tang Long's heart was infuriated, and this ridicule was like a prick of self-esteem. He looked at Xing Xiong directly, and his voice was calm and determined. Want a snatch? Try it. Brother Chui, let's go, but remember this face. I won't have a handheld next time I meet it. Xing Xiong was stunned for a moment. Unexpectedly, Kai Feng dared to speak out. His face turned green. Boy, arrogant. You will see the true seal. He swung his hands to open the way, but his eyes were too ruthless. When the 2 left the hall, Chui Hao said in a low voice, the guy Xing Xiong has taken away many fragments. Be careful, boy. I heard that there is a Xiao Xian in the guild who is proficient in ancient traditions. She knows the secrets of the artifact, which may help us avoid this type of pig friends. Find opportunities to contact her. Tang Long pointed his head, and the fragments of movement responded in his chest. The deep cries of the mystery became even stronger. He held the handle tightly and took a firm step. The wind on the outside blew away the blood, and the sunset raised the shadow. This battle not only regained power, but also ignited the will of struggle. The lights and fires of the guild hall shook, reflecting the hanging monster horns and flash badges on the wall. Tang Long and Chui Hao just came back from the mystery, and the wound on their arms was still hurting, but the 2 pieces of his chest were moving, making him feel that everything was worth it. The noise of the winery comes from the back hall, mixed with the collision of wine glasses and the rough smiles of the hunters. Chui Hao kicked the door open with 1 foot and pulled Tang Long into a small library, the knowledge room of the guild. The air was filled with the smell of Chen's sheepskin paper and ink, and the bookshelf was filled with yellow rolls. Xiao Xian. Old Chui is here, bringing a potential kid. Chui Hao's voice was like thunder, shaking the fire. A figure raised his head from behind the pile of books. The woman was about 20 years old. Her long hair was like a waterfall, wearing a deep blue robe, and her eyes were deep purple, like stars hidden. She put down the ancient books in her hand, slightly slapped the corners of her mouth, and her eyes fell on Tang Long, as if she could see through his soul. Are you Tang Long? Chui Hao mentioned you, the newcomer who swept the fragments on the first day. Xiao Xian's voice was soft and magnetic. She stood up, her robe sleeves were lightly swollen, and a light blue light flashed on her fingertips. Sit down, I heard you avoided the arrow trap and hit the flying wolf king with 1 punch. The bird shouldn't be so bad unless you have talent. Tang Long felt tight in his heart. From time to time, he always felt like a lonely ghost, relying on his golden finger to sweep the scene. But the woman's eyes made him feel like he was being seen. He pulled open the chair and sat down, and tried to find out, Miss Xiao Xian, I am new and I don't know anything about Mian Palace. Brother Chui said that you know the secret of the magic weapon, can you give me some tips? Chui Hao laughed and leaned on the shelf. Boy, Xiao Xian is a guild's business, and is proficient in ancient magic. The bastard, Xing Xiong, fears her the most because she knows how to know the fragmented fakes. Say, Xiao Xian, tell him the things left by the gods. Xiao Xian clicks on the head and taps the desktop lightly. A flooded ancient book automatically flips opens. and a phantom-like image appears on the page, a downward view without any maze, fragments scattered like stars. She said in a low voice, "Hear it, Tang Long. This world is a game of gods. After they fight, they collapse into a mystery. Each piece of fragment is a piece of their power. A collection of artifacts can awaken, such as the Thunder Sword or the Phantom Robe, not only gives extraordinary power, but also changes the rules, flying in the sky and hiding the earth, and even reshaping the mainland. But the law is harsh, the fragments are true and false, and the false will lead to curse. The real fragments need to be fused to the blood, otherwise they will backfire." Tang Long touched the chip inside and the warm current stormed. "Then are my two pieces real?" Xiao Xian approached, her purple eyes flashed. She stretched out her hand and pressed it on his palm, and a piece of magic penetrated. After a while, she withdrew her hand and said in surprise, "It's true. And it's high in purity, suitable for novice fusion. Do you feel talented?" "I'm afraid that Choi Hao said you're like a sling." "Come on, I'll teach you basic magic, combine fragments, and unlock more. Magic is not a rush, but an extension of will." She took Tang Long's hand and taught him to meditate. The light in the room was dim, and Tang Long closed his eyes, feeling the movements of the fragments in synchronization with his heartbeat. Xiao Xuan's voice is like a stream. Imagine the flames ignited in the palm of your hand, and use the power of fragments to activate the magic essence in the air. The spark of modern science flashed in Tang Long's brain. Energy conversion? The heart was filled with vein. From the keyboard to the magician, the transformation was too crazy, but when he grabbed the opportunity, a small flame suddenly appeared in his palm, jumping, and swollen face. "It's done! Boy, you're learning fast." Chui Hao slapped the table and laughed. Xiao Xian also showed a rare smile. "God is strange, Tang Long Fireball is just a foundation, but with your feelings, there is no disadvantage in the mystery. Team will expand. I joined Chui Hao Wei, I help magic, you explore the way. Tomorrow we'll enter the third level. There will be a magic trap, but there will be a third fragment." Tang Long was slim in his eyes, and the flames were extinguished, but he felt a heat flow in his body. The feeling of loneliness fades, and instead of warmth with friends, this strange world is no longer a prison. He pointed, "Thank you, Xiao Xian. Go together." The next day, the entrance to the third level of the maze palace was like a mouth of a giant beast, with a fog scattered, the scent of the moist stone smell and the buzzing bird in the air, like countless wings vibrating. The sunlight is barely in, illuminating the vine wall at the entrance, with a rough touch and hiding a slight movement. Chui Hao opened the road ahead, and the giant axe slashed the grass. Xiao Xian sang a shield curse in the middle, and the blue light wrapped around the three of them. Behind the Tang Long Palace, the golden finger was activated, and a golden wire moved in the field, pointing directly to 200 meters deep. "Be careful, this layer is a mystery in the illusion." Xiao Xian reminded that the sound was rumbling in the channel, and his feet stepped on the moist talc, making a sticky echo. The misconceptions left by the gods can let you see things that do not exist. If you hear me, close your eyes and touch it. The passage is long, the wall becomes smooth as a mirror, and the air is filled with fragrance of flowers and whispers, like old friends whispering in their ears. Tang Long suddenly stopped, and a phantom appeared in front of him, a familiar office, a flash of computer screen, and a laughter from colleagues. He felt a little nervous and said, "Home?" "No, this is a trap." The golden finger shines brightly, penetrates the phantom, guiding the true path to the crack on the left. "Brother Chui, Xiao Xian, don't trust your eyes. Go left." Tang Long shouted, grabbing Chui Hao's arm. Chui Haobin saw countless gold coins piled up. His eyes were straightened, but he heard it back to his senses. "Boy, is it you who saved the scene again?" Old Chui is convinced. Xiao Xian pulled her stick, the purple light swept over, and the phantom dissipated like smoke. She praised, "Your feelings break the core error." Tang Long continued, "I help to strengthen my vision." The three of them dig into the cracks, and the illusion became even more intense. Chui Hao saw the ghost of his old friend, Xiao Xian heard the whispers of the gods, Tang Long saw the face of his mother, and called him home. The air became sticky, and the touch felt like a spider's body, and his heartbeat accelerated. But the golden fingers were like a light tower, and Xiaoshuan's curse was like an illusion. She murmured, "The eye of truth, break the delusion." The purple light burst out, the phantom shattered, revealing the real passage. The ground was covered with gravel, and the crunch of stone chips rubbing from afar. "The fragments are approaching," Tang Long said excitedly. The passage opened into a large hall. The high gaze was arched like a church, echoing in the air, and the sound of flapping its wings flapping. The golden line points to the central sacrificial fortress, but the shadow in the hall creeps, and 10 middle-level gargoyles emerge from the wall. Their bodies are like stone sculptures, their wings are as sharp as blades, their eyes are red and their claws are harsh and scratching. The leader guards are even bigger, with double wings on the back, and the stone body is cracked, scattering magic waves. Gargoyle group. "Boy, protect your side wings." Cui Hao roared, and his axe swung out like a whirlwind, hitting a front claw. The stone chips were flying, and the gray nose was swollen, bringing a dry and earthy smell. The gargoyle came and flapped its wings with its wings. Cui Hao stood on the front and 3 slapped at him. He flicked his body and the axe blade was embedded in the stone body, but the monster did not fall, and the claws slashed over his armor, sparking 4 times. Xiao Xian retreated, and the purple light at the tip of the stick condensed. Faraway support. Ice arrows. Several ice horns shot out, piercing the wings of the 2 gargoyles. They shattered in pieces, and the cold spread, making the air biting. Tang Long's heart beats like a drum, and his heart is filled with determination. You can't rely solely on physics. This is the moment when magic wakes up. He took a deep breath, and with the power of the fragments, his palms were filled with heat. Fireball art shooting. The first fireball burst out like a stone, and a gargoyle that caught the precision hit. The flames exploded, the stone body melted, and the fragments were filled with heat, and the skin was burned. The pleasure was like electric current swelling, and Tang Long widened his eyes. This power. He used to be only knocking on the keyboard, and now he is dominating the battlefield. The monster group was in trouble. He combined physics. The sword light flashed and the wings were broken. The fireball was connected, breaking its core. The stone chips fell like rain, and the sound of the explosion in the hall was heard. "Fuck beautifully, boy. Your fireball blocks them from retreating." Cui Hao laughed, his axe swept the clear wings, and the 3 formed an iron triangle. Xiaoshuan's ice arrows surrounded the guardian's legs, Tang Long's fireball hit his chest, and Cui Hao slashed the crack with an axe. The guard roared, the stone wings fan came, and the wind was like a knife, but Tang Long avoided it, and a backhand pierced in, the fireball exploded, and the guard scattered, and the fragments scattered. The battle ended and the temple settled, and the smell of scorched earth and frost was mixed in the air. Tang Long was panting, his palms were still hot, and the 3rd fragment floated up from the guardian's bones and fell into his hand. In the moment of fusion, the power surged like a tide, and the fireball was upgraded. He felt the magic inside his body boiling. Xiao Xian approached and patted him on the shoulder. "Tang Long, your magical talent is rare, and you deserve blessings. You are simply a god tether. With you in the team, we can go further." Cui Hao wiped the blood of the axe and grinned. "Boy, remember my experience. Fighting is like drinking, warm yourself first and then rush hard. Your fireball is matched with my axe, and it is invincible. From now on, this team will be home." Tang Long looked at the 2 people, and his heart turned from lonely and empty space to full-minded people. It was no longer a single fight, he had a partner in direction. The fragment responded to his joy and replied with a smile, "Thank you. I will speed up the collection and strengthen the protection of everyone." Just as I was cleaning up, a detailed broken footstep was transmitted from the channel. The 2 figures were sneaking out. They were Jing Xiong's younger brother, tall and thin, short and fat, with flickering eyes. The boss said, "There are newcomers here who are picking up fragments. We are coming to explore the way." The tall and thin murmured, but when they saw the 3, their faces turned pale. Cui Hao's axe slammed. "Chang. Tell Jing Xiong that the fragments are ours. Come again next time and cut you down." The younger brothers crawled and fled. Tang Long held the fragments tightly, his eyes flickered. The competition has come, but there is a team, he is not afraid. The cry deep in the mystery was even more urgent, and the fourth fragment was waiting. He turned around and said to his partner, "Have you had some rest? Continue to explore?" Xiao Xian smiled. Cui Hao pointed his head. The three of them walked deeper, their feet swept in the darkness, and the wind was filled with the breath of a new challenge. The fourth-level entrance of the mysterious palace is like a cracked scar, hidden behind the secret door on the third level. Cui Hao pushed the stone door hard, and the dust came over the surface, scattering the smell of Chenfu stone and the hidden sulfur breath, making people's throat dry. Behind the door is a deeper passage. The wall is no longer rough rock, but smooth black basalt, with red cracks on the surface, like the ground breathing. The air was hot and damp, and the footsteps stepped on the gravel and made a deep resonance. The cry of water droplets falling to the ground was spread far away, accompanied by an unknown low voice, as if the mistress was in a humble warning. "This layer is a fire zone," Xiao Xian reminded in a low voice. The staff lightly slapped the ground, and a thin layer of blue shield spread out, blocking the invasion of the heat. "Monsters will spray fire, and the machine is a lava trap." "Tang Long, how do you feel?" Tang Long took a deep breath, and the fragments on his chest were striking. When his golden fingers were activated, a hot golden wire appeared in his sight, pointing directly to the depth of 300 meters ahead. The line jumped like a flame, and the hushing feeling made his heart beat faster. The fragments are in the fire room at all times. The key piece, it feels like the core of the set, which can unlock new powers. "Brother Cui, we go straight to that, but be careful of ambushing." Cui Hao held the giant axe and his face under the beard was tightly swaying. "Boy, lead the way." "I was in front of me, after Xiao Xian was protected. I came here once, and it was as hot as a steamer." The monsters were salamanders, their skin was like iron, and their tails could scatter bones. "Let's go." The three of them came in with fish, and the passage was wide. The heat was as hot as invisible claws to grab the skin, and the sweat instantly soaked their clothes. Red light emerged from the cracks on the wall, illuminating the lava stream on the ground, bubbling and emitting a burning smell of ozone. Tang Long explored the way forward, and the golden line guided him to avoid a relaxed floor. Below is the rock pit, which was burning with hot waves. He instinctively retreated and shouted, "Turn left. Don't step on the middle." After walking 100 meters, the passage opened into a fire hall. There was a circular sacrifice in the center, surrounded by columns of fire, and the air was twisted like a hot wave. The golden line pointed directly at the red crystal in the center of the fortress, but suddenly, a cold smile came from the shadows, accompanied by the chaos of steps. 10 figures appeared, and the head was Xing Xiong. He was wearing reinforced wolf leather armor, his sword flashed the cold light, and a mocking sneer on his face. Behind him, there were 5 or 6 subordinates, well equipped, some holding shields, some holding crossbows, and their eyes were filled with greed. Is the weak team coming to give the treasure?" Xing Xiong strode forward, swept his sword, and made an arc of light, and there seemed to be a bit of murder in the air. "Tang Long, right?" Kaifeng picked up 3 pieces of fragments and pulled the old dog Cui Hao and Xiao Xian's slut, thinking that he could reach the 4th level. "The mystery is a game for the strong. You can go back and lick the wound. This key piece is mine." Cui Hao shook his axe and slapped in front of Tang Long, roaring, "Xing Xiong, you are robbing this time. The guild rules, fragments rely on strength. If you dare to take action in this public area, I will chop you." Xing Xiong laughed loudly, his subordinates spread out and surrounded him. Someone pulled a crossbow to aim, and the arrow was covered with green poison. Rules? In the mysteries, the fist is the rule. Brothers, go! Grab the living, and the pieces are the boss. The battle broke out suddenly. Cui Hao rushed forward, and the giant axe swung like a wind car, hitting the shield of a shield soldier, and spawning a huge metal-shattered bulge, sparking 4 sparks. The subordinate fell to the ground with a cry of crying, and Cui Hao kicked a crossbowman again, and the axe blade drew over the air and took a shout. "Boys, come. Old Chui is waiting. Xiao Xian took a few steps back, her staff was high, and her purple eyes flashed, protective boundary expand. The blue light spread like a net, wrapping around the three people, forming a translucent barrier. Two subordinates rushed over, and the fist hit the boundary, making a buzzing vibration, and the blue light shook, but it was not broken. She gasped, "It won't take long to entangle the world. Tang Long, look for a chance to get the fragments. I will attack the magic." The hall was in a group, and the heat waves of the pillar of fire were mixed with blood. Chui Hao was alone, and he slashed his arms with an axe. The blood fog sprayed, and the iron lens smelled like a nose. But Jing Xiong's subordinates cooperated tacitly. One shield soldier stood on Chui Hao, and the other sneaked from the side wing, and the dagger slashed over his arm, leaving a blood mark. Chui Hao hummed and his heart was furious. You can't let something happen to the boys. Tang Long's heart beat like a drum, and his brain flashed through the previous few levels of battle, from being passive to being active. This time he couldn't just hide. He looked around, and the golden fingers of the golden wire moved, pointing to a secret crack behind the fort. "Brother Chui, Xiao Xian, hold them back. I'll take the fragments," he shouted, taking the trouble to the side, and under the protection of the boundary, flashed a crossbow arrow, and the arrow passed over his shoulder, and it hurt a lot. Jing Xiong glanced at him and sneered, "Want to run away? I have delusions." He slammed his sword and headed towards the boundary. The sword was as hot as the wind, and the blue light cracked a hole. Xiao Xian gritted her teeth and strengthened her sweat, and the beads of sweat slid down. "Hold on, Tang Long, hurry." Tang Long diamonds into cracks, the passage is as narrow as a rat's path, the walls are burning and hot, and the touch is as red as a burnt iron. He crawled forward, his sweat evaporated into a fog, and his golden fingers pointed straight into the forage. The smell of sulfur in the air is heavy, and red crystals are flickered on the fort, and the fragments are beating like a heart. He reached out and grabbed it, the wafer warmed into his palm, instantly melting into light and flowing into his body. Fused successfully, speed increase unblocking. The host agility is increased by 50%, the peak of the flash avoidance rate, and the short-term explosion is like a trend. The power is like current rushing through the limbs. Tang Long feels his body light and his vision is stretched. Every airflow is clear and sensible. The heart is filled with vein, it is no longer a slow bird, this speed is my weapon. He turned around and broke out the crack, like a shadow passing through the hall, roaring and calling out, leaving behind a series of vague trunks. At the battle scene, Chui Hao had already killed his red eyes, and his axe smashed his subordinate's head, his brain was swelling, and his nose was smelly. But Jing Xiong saw from the upper side and slashed his sword to Chui Hao's heart. "Old dog, go to die." Chui Hao was too lazy to get caught, and a sword light appeared from the side of the air. Tang Long appeared like a wind, a sword slammed, and sparks exploded, shaking Jing Xiong back half a step back. "Boy, you!" Jing Xiong glared, his sword turned back, and his sword was as bright as a blade. But Tang Long's figure shook and had already fallen to his side, as fast as a ghost. The increase after the fusion made him predict every move. Jing Xiong's move, the rope under his feet, was easily overwhelmed by him, and he stabbed his shoulder with a backhand. Jing Xiong avoided it, but the sword tip broke the wolf's leather armor and the blood beads rolled out. He hummed and retreated, his face turned blue. "Impossible! Why is the cabbage so fast?" Jing Xiong roared, swept out the shadow of the sword, and tried to encircle the picture. But Tang Long shuttled through the crowd, like willow catkins in the wind. After avoiding attacks, he kicked Jing Xiong in the knee, and used the force to lift it up, and the sword light pierced his chest. Jing Xiong held his knife and was knocked back 3 steps, hitting the pillar of fire, and the heat waves made his leather armor charred. Chui Hao saw the situation and laughed and slapped the axe to clear the store. His subordinates saw the boss eating, and his military spirit collapsed and fled in all directions. Xiao Xian closed the boundary and closed the wound, and the blue light protected the wound. Tang Long, fucked beautifully. Retreat. Tang Long landed, and the sword pointed at Jing Xiong, and his voice was cold and full of confidence. "Jing Xiong, fragments belong to those with strength, not those who are the ones. Do you laugh at us as weak? Who are the ones now? Let's go, next time, I'll let you crawl out. As the words fell, the main hall sent his declaration, his subordinates lowered their heads, Jing Xiong's face was red, and he gritted his teeth and said, "Boy, I've remembered this hatred. The guild meets." He summoned the soldiers with his hands, and the wolf retreated, his feet were in a mess, leaving a bloody ground. The three of the team members panted and withdrew from the main hall. Cui Hao patted Tang Long's shoulder and his strength became much lighter. "Boy, your speed is like a ghost." Old Cui almost thought he was seeing the gods. "From now on, you are the leader, I will hear you." Xiao Xian was injured while walking, and the blue light wrapped around Cui Hao's wound, which stopped bleeding and relieved the pain. She said in a low voice, "Tang Long, this piece is the core fragment of the fast style set, a specialized agile artifact. The 5 pieces of the franchise can awaken the Shadow Blade. Not only is it as fast as a god, but it can also control the airflow and cut enemies. Your golden fingers feel really good, but Jing Xiong will not be good at slack. He has the support of the guild behind him, and the shattering is the franchise of the franchise, which will control the circle of hunters." Tang Long pointed his head, and the fragments on his chest responded to his excitement. "My heart has changed from a sacred and destined to a certainty. I am no longer a small person seeking survival, I am the pillar of the team, collecting magical artifacts, not only going home, but also protecting all of this." In the heat, he looked at the deeper passage ahead and said in a low voice, "A higher level of challenge is waiting for us. Brother Cui, Xiao Xian, are you ready?" Cui Hao grinned, "Anytime." Xiao Xian smiled, "Be stronger together." The three of them did not enter the darkness, and they were roaring in the wind, indicating that the storm of the 5th level was about to come. The entrance to the 5th level maze is hidden behind the lava crack at the 4th level. It is like a wound created by a fire. The heat has not yet dissipated, and the air is filled with scorched earth and sulfur. Cui Hao slashed the last hot vine with an axe, and the gray face came over. He wiped his sweat and said with a rough voice, "Boy, this layer has turned poisonous." The old bird of the Listen Guild said that there is a forest inside, and the poisonous fog can penetrate the bone marrow, and it will turn into mud if you are not careful. "Xiao Xian, are you ready for your magic?" Xiao Xian clicked her head and the staff turned lightly, and a light green light spread around the three of them, like a thin fog-like protective cover, blocking the damp and fishy wind blowing from the entrance. The wind smears are filled with the poisonous smell of rotten leaves and sourness, causing people's nasal cavity to get burned. She said in a low voice, "The detoxification boundary, the basic version, can last for half an hour. Tang Long, what about your feelings? Don't let us be blind." Tang Long took a deep breath, and the fragments in his chest were like a heartbeat. When the golden fingers were activated, a green golden line appeared in the field, winding towards a depth of 500 meters. That line is hiding, with a warning sign. The fragments are in the temple in the middle of the forest, and the road is rumbling, but there are shortcuts behind the vines on the right. "Brother Cui, you open your way, I feel the same way." The three of them stepped in and the world changed instantly. The channel turns into a dense forest, with trees high and scattered like burrs, branches and leaves squinted, holding down the faint light, leaving only the green shadow falling. The air is sticky and hot, the poisonous fog is like a thin slush floating, and the touch is like a fine thorn in the skin, bringing light and numbness. The ground is covered with mossy moss and rotten leaves. When it steps on it, it produces a gurgling moistness, and the low hisses of unknown wild animals are everywhere, making people feel alert. Cui Hao was in front, and the giant axe swept away, cutting off the poisonous thorn vines, and the green juice was poured out, emitting a pungent and sour smell. "Be careful, this forest is hidden in traps. Poisonous swamps, man-eating flowers, everything is there. Old Cui, my nose is so swaying, and you will know which one is poisonous when you hear it." He walked around and sniffed, the axe blade drew over the air, and brought out the sound. Occasionally, he stopped and pried open a suspicious stone slab, revealing the squirming group of poisonous insects below, which made it appear when it was broken. After walking 100 meters, the poisonous fog was thicker. Xiao Xian's boundary shook slightly, and she said with a brow, "The magic power is consumed quickly. I will teach you detoxification magic, Tang Long. The fragments will give you resistance, but the team must protect themselves. Concentrate your will and imagine that green light flows out of your palms, extracting the purifier from the air. Try." Tang Long pointed his head, followed Cui Hao, and closed his eyes for a moment. The heat of the debris in the sea of brain stormed, and he stretched out his hand, and a green light appeared in his palm, scattering and relieved the stinging pain of the fog. I was alone in my heart. I used to only work overtime. Did I learn magic? But with them, only when you learn it can you achieve it. It's done. Xiao Xian, I feel like I'm filtering the air, and the poisonous fog fades a little. Xiao Xian smiled and patted him on the shoulder. Good talent is good, it is easier to get started after melting the fragments. Keep it, don't. The golden line guided them to turn right, and after diamonds into a giant leaf, the eyes suddenly opened up. The hidden temple appeared deep in the forest, with old stone pillars lying on the surface, with vines crawling on the surface, and a sacrificial fortification in the center. The air-poisoning fog was the most intense, and it was hissing, like a snake's trust. The golden line pointed directly at the green crystal stone at the top of the fort, but suddenly the ground moved, and a black shadow emerged from behind the stone pillar. Be careful. Boss. Cui Hao roared, snatching the axe, holding the black shadow that was coming. It was a poisonous giant python with a body of 10 meters long, with black as ink, red eyes as lights, poisonous fog in the mouth, and a sour smell that sucks the nose, making the boundary buzzing. The giant python lies on the fort, and its tail swept, smashing a stone pillar, gravel flying, and slashing over Cui Hao's armor, making a harsh scratch. Xiao Xian retreated, and the green light on the tip of the rod condensed, the guardian of the poisonous python. Its fog can rot the shield. Tang Long, merge the front fragments to enhance resistance. She said that an ice arrow shot out, stabbed the python's body, and the fog was split, but the poisonous blood was sprayed out, making a sizzling sound. Tang Long's heart beat faster, and the movement of the first 3 fragments flashed in his brain. He took a deep breath, pressed his chest, and his green light shone brightly. Fusion start, antitoxic enhancement unlocking. The host poison resistance is increased by 80%, short-term immune toxicity, and physical recovery is accelerated. The power flowed through the veins like a slight flow, and the poisonous numbness faded instantly. He felt his lungs refreshed, and the weakness of the python in the field, the horny skeleton, clearly appeared. Brother Cui, Xiao Xian, combine skills. Brother Cui is on the front, I go to the side to break the fireball. Xiao Xian's ice arrow is scattered. Tang Long shouted, the speed increase made him swept across the edge of the forest like a wind, and the slap flashed and headed towards the python's tail. The giant python roared and turned around, its tail swept, and its wind was like a whip. Its body was rising, and the fireballs in its palm condensed, and its belly was in its middle. The flames burst, the flakes melted, the burnt smell spread, the python twitched, and the poisonous fog was sprayed wildly. Cui Hao laughed loudly, and the axe slashed the python's head. Boy, cooperate with me. Take my axe. He held the python's mouth, the axe blade embedded in the top, and the blood and flesh tearing sounded, and the fishy and poisonous blood filled his face, but he gritted his teeth and bulged his muscles, holding the pressure of the python's body. The armor creaked and the mixed blood of sweat slid down. Xiao Xian sang, Frozen Chain. The green-blue light intertwined, shooting towards the python's tail, scattering the flakes, allowing it to move freely. She gasped, Tang Long, you have a chance to get close to you. But be careful to rebel. The giant python was furious, the python's body spiraled, and the poisonous fog was like a cloud cover toward Cui Hao. He coughed and fell to the ground in a flash. His skin was blistered, and he growled in pain, Don't die. The poison has entered, boy, then. It's reversed. Tang Long's heart sank, and his heart swelled up. I can't let my partner fall down. He rushed forward, and the green light spread out from his palm. The magic of detoxification was upgraded, and after fusion of resistance, he actually unlocked the healing light ring. Healing ability unlock, team recovery. The host can transfer body strength and has a 50% injury rate. He pressed Chui Hao's shoulder and green light stormed in. Chui Hao's bubble marks disappeared, and toxins were discharged like smoke. He widened his eyes. Boy, are you cured? God, this is a magical skill. Chui Hao turned over and rose, and the axe became even more powerful, hitting the weak point of the python. Tang Long maintains the light ring and fights at the edge. The strategy is like a chess game. The fireball seals the python's mouth and forces it to join. Xiao Xuan's ice arrow surrounds the side wings, restricts movement. Chui Hao's main attack, and the axe blade is embedded deep into the throne. The python twisted wildly, the trees in the forest broke, the leaves fell like rain, and the poisonous fog scattered, but Tang Long's treatment made the team uneasy. Chui Hao's wounds instantly, and Xiao Xuan's magic power was restored. Now! Tang Long roared, slamming the back of the python, and the fireball exploded. The python's body was stiff, his roar was terrifying, and his tail was swept wildly, but Xiao Xian locked the chains, and Chui Hao put his head in a head with an axe. The head fell, poisonous blood stormed out like a spring, the fishy smell swelled into the sky, the giant python fell to the ground, and the temple shook. At the end of the battle, the three of them were panting, and the sound of the forest was rumbling. Tang Long lifted the fourth fragment from the python's skeleton, and the green crystal stone fell into his palms. It merged in an instant, and his healing ability was stable. He felt that there was an extra layer of warm barrier in his body. The pleasure is overwhelming. From a pure warrior to an all-rounder, this transformation made him straighten up and reflect in his heart. When I am single, I only want to survive, and only with my partner can I dare to play strategy. Brother Chui's axe, Xiao Xuan's ice, this team is my backing. Xiao Xian wiped the poisonous stick and smiled. Tang Long, your healing has saved us. The fourth box is the starting point of the life suit, which can regenerate the injured person. The team is stronger because of you. Chui Hao patted him on the back with a gentle force. Boy, from now on, you are the brain and I am the head of the box. It's great. This boss is worth killing. Just as I was packing up, a slight rustling sound came from the edge of the forest. The two black shadows emerged like ghosts, and the dagger flashed with cold light, which directly hit Tang Long's heart. One of the whispers, Boss Xing Xiong's order killed this kid and took the fragments. It was Xing Xiong's assassin, covered in black robe, moving quickly, and the poisonous blade was wearing a wind. But the team police found out. Chui Hao's axe slammed the first thorn, and sparks exploded. Xiao Feng, seeking death. He swung his backhand, and the assassin avoided him, hit Xiao Xian's ice arrow, blocked his arm, and landed on the ground. Tang Long turned around and cured the attack of the light. The green light turned into a vine and slammed the second assassin. The light flashed and broke his robe and forced him to retreat. The assassin saw that the action was not good, and he blew the smoke. The black smoke was everywhere, and the sour smell sniffed. They crawled into the forest, leaving behind their arms and blood. Tell Xing Xiong, this is just the beginning. Tang Long said coldly, and his heart was infuriated. The slander has appeared, this guy is not giving up. But there are teams that fail, which only makes us tighter. Xiao Xian casts a spell to disperse the smoke. Chui Hao lifts up his dagger and checks. Poison blade, the best stock. Xing Xiong is a bastard, sending assassins to attack. The guild must take care of it. Tang Long held the fragments tightly, and the green light reflected on his face. He wants to cure it? We gather the magic weapon first. Have you rested? The 6th level crow has already felt it. The three of them smiled at each other, left the temple shoulder to shoulder, and the forest wind blows away the poisonous fog, and their steps are fixed, and the group is as tight as iron. The greenery of the forest became increasingly sparse, and the poisonous fog dissipated like a tide. The three finally crawled out from the entrance of the 5th floor, and a dry heat came towards them, smearing the burning smell of ash and lava. At the campground near the guild, the hunters' tents are like temporary burgers, and the air is filled with the aroma of barbecue and the aroma of the balsamic cream, which makes people relax. Chui Hao sat down with his butt, and the giant axe penetrated into the soil, panting and said, "Boy, this 5th level is exciting to play, and the blood of the poisonous python is still stuck to my armor. The 6th level is the dungeon, which I heard that it is a territory of fire and stone, and monsters can spray rocks. Take a night off?" Xiao Xian slammed her head, and her purple eyes swept over Tang Long's chest with a swaying fragment. No, Jing Xiong's assassin tasted the bitterness. He must have been buried in the 6th level. Tang Long, what do you think? Half set of core fragments, that is a turnover point, which can unlock the artifact and wake up for the first time. Tang Long closed his eyes for a moment, his golden fingers activated like old friends, and a red golden line in his sight winded like a fire snake, pointing to the 6th entrance outside the city, which was only 2 miles away. The movement was as strong as a heartbeat, carrying a burning cry. Just deep in the dungeon, core fragments. It feels as if calling me. Let's go, while they are not in line. Chui Hao grinned and patted the handle of the axe. Okay. Old Chui's blood is still hot. Xiao Xian, guard the shield. The 6th entrance is hidden in the cracks in the valley, like a huge mouth torn by the earth, with hot waves storming out of it, and the pungent smell of sulfur makes people's eyes bleed. The stone is steep and downward, the wall is red and red, with cracks on the surface like blood vessels, and a deep thorn is hidden. The air was hot like a steaming pot, sweat fell down, and when you stepped on the gravel, it made a crisp sound of Titicaca, and the sound of rock swelling from afar, like the ground in the boiling gust. The 3 of them walked in with fish. Chui Hao opened the road ahead, and the axe knocked on the wall to explore the way. I heard that there are so many machines in this layer, and the floor can collapse into a fire pit. Tang Long, I feel the point. The golden line guides the straight line forward. Tang Long points. Within 200 meters, the core is in the boss room. But there is an ambush smell on the right side. It brings sweat and iron in the wind. Before the words finished, the torch suddenly lit up in the passage, and more than 10 figures emerged from the side. Xing Xiong, who was in charge, sneered and slapped the knife. The wolf leather armor was covered with the guild's high-level emblem, and 3 alliance key players stood beside him, a shield shackle, a archer spirit, and a spell dwarf. They are well equipped, with shields flashing magical patterns, arrows poisonous, and a cold killing in the air. Tang Long, you bastard, you are a good thing to ruin me at the 5th level. Xing Xiong roared and pointed at the knife. The 3 guilds of the guild have joined forces. This time your team is finished. The core fragment is my overlord's set key. Hand over it, don't you die. Chui Hao's axe slammed in front of him and roared, Xing Xiong, you are helping the robbery in this guild? The guild rules are holding you, I'll be 10 of you. He rushed forward, and the giant axe hit the shield like thunder. The shield collided and released a huge shaking, the metal twisted, and the shield took a step back, half a step, but the archer and arrow shot like rain. Chui Hao flicked his body, the arrow rubbed over his arms, and the blood was blowing. Xiao Xian swayed his staff, and the blue light boundary opened. Defend the siege, rise. The light network blocked the green spell of arrow rain and the dwarf wizard, and the buzzing bird shook, but Xing Xiong's alliance was crowded with people, and the side wings were encircled. The spirit archer pulled the bow and aimed at Xiao Xian, and the arrows were waving. She retreated and sang the ice arrows against each other, holding an arrow, but the magic power was like a tide, and the sweat beads fell. Tang Long, protect Chui Hao. I can't hold it for long. The battle exploded, and the dungeon passage was like a slaughterhouse, with the smell of blood spreading in the hot waves. Chui Hao fought in blood, and the axe swept open 2 small pieces, and his bones were cracked and sounded, but he was hit hard by the shield, his breastplate was sunken, and he vomited blood and retreated. Boys, are you persistent? Old Chui can still chop. Xing Xiong laughed, and the sword shadow flashed, approaching Xiao Xian. Boy, your magic is exhausted, right? The Alliance's curse will break through your shield. The dwarf wielded, and the green fog swept into the boundary. Xiao Xian's face turned pale and his magic was exhausted. She knelt down and gasped, Tang Long, the core is behind the boss room, I have no power. Go! Tang Long's heart was as if a knife was attacked. Seeing Cui Hao being attacked, Xiao Xian fell to the ground, and an unprecedented determination arose in his heart. I can't rely on them anymore, this time, I'll protect you. He shouted, Brother Cui, Xiao Xian, hold on. I'll go and get the fragments. The golden wire was moving like fire. He flashed his body towards the entrance of the boss room. An alliance hunter rushed in. His sword light flashed and broke his throat. The blood evaporated from the heat waves, and he entered his own way. The boss room is a huge cave, with the rock walls like melting furnaces. The flame trolling in the center stands roaring, reaching 5 meters high. The skin is red like a rock flake, the eyes are like a lava pool. Holding a fire whip in hand, stepping on the lava pool, the little trolls around the body are like robes. The air twists and the heat waves are swollen, and the sulfur smells so good. The troll growled, the invader is burned into ashes. The fire whip came, and the wind was like a knife. Tang Long shook the ground, the whip hit the ground, the rocks were sprayed, and the floor was burning out. The battle outside was filled with a loud confrontation, and Cui Hao's roar and Xiao Xian's breath made Tang Long's eyes red. He pressed his chest, and the 5 pieces gathered together, and the green and golden light intertwined. Multi-block fusion start, fire resistance divine power unblocking. The host flame is 100% immune, and the magic substance in the body turns into the fire source, and the fire of the sky explodes, burning the fire in the range, and causing continuous damage. The power is like a volcano erupting, and Tang Long feels that his veins are like melting, and the skin is red. The heat waves no longer burn and painful, but instead become a helping force. The moment of lone hero is here. Tang Long felt aloof in his heart, from the confusion of traveling through time, to the present. I am their shield. He yelled, come on, troll. His body swept across the lava pool like a wind, and the slaying light wrapped around the fire, slashing the little troll's arms, and the flames exploded, and it turned into ashes. The little trolls came in, their claws grabbed the air, and the fireball in his palm rose into a fire wave, and swept out. 10 monsters were burning and screaming, their flesh was charred, and the gray was falling like rain. The cave exploded and the hot waves pushed the wall and the rocks cracked. The troll roared, the fire whip swept, and the lava popped like a rock. Tang Long's fire resistance was completely opened, and he carried a whip, his skin was only slightly burned. He backhanded the troll's knees, the source of fire poured in, the troll's legs melted, and he knelt on the ground and roared. The excitement is bursting, the divine power is like a tide. Tang Long rises up, in his hands condenses the fire of the sky with his 2 hands. The red pillar of fire is thin from his palm, like a dragon rolling the burning troll's upper body. The troll whipped and retaliated, but the fire source swallowed everything. Its body cracked, the rock swelled, the wings trembled into the cave, the fire spread to the little trolls, the entire army was covered, the smell of burning in the air spread, the Tang Long landed, the breath was as stable as a mountain. The core fragments floated up from the troll's heart, and the red crystal core fell into the palm. The moment of fusion, the divine power was stable. He felt like there was a sea of fire in his body, and the level of the mystery in his sight was clearer. Tang Long turned around and ran out of the boss room. The battle outside was already in trouble, Cui Hao was covered in blood, his axe was broken, and Xiao Xian was stunned. Xing Xiong's alliance suppressed them. Shield laughed, boss, this team is over. Tang Long descended like the god of fire. The fire waves swept, burning 3 alliance hunters. They shouted to retreat and their leather armor melted. Xing Xiong glared, why are you coming out of the boss room? Where are the fragments? Face-pressing moment. Tang Long sneered, pointing at Xing Xiong, and the fire beam rolled. Xing Xiong, you are in the alliance, sending assassins and Fu, and you can only play with Jing? See clearly, the core is mine. Your overlord set? Go dream. His figure flashed, and the fire whip simulated the troll move to draw the shield melted, and the slump fell to the ground. The archer shoots the archer, Tang Long's fire resists the fire, the backhand fireball flies the spirit, the dwarf wizard spells to swim, his fire source backfires, and the green fog turns into ashes. Jing Xiong's face was blue and his sword was swept out, but Tang Long's speed and firepower were added, and the sword light was like flames. With a blow, he broke his armor and the blood beads fell. "Boy, you!" Jing Xiong retreated, and the Alliance soldiers protected him and fled. The wolf's figure did not enter the passage, and he called out, "This revenge is not over. The high-level guild will calculate the debt to you." Tang Long did not chase him, and turned around and helped Cui Hao and Xiao Xian up. The fire source was reincarnated, and the warm light circle wrapped them. Cui Hao was hurt and he gasped, "Boy! Are you going to pick a boss?" Old Cui is convinced. "From now on, you are the boss." Xiao Xian woke up, and her purple eyes were grateful. "Tang Long, the divine power is unlocked. The team owes you a life." The three of them dragged their bodies and retreated to a safe alcove near the dungeon to rest. The rock walls were refreshed and the heat waves were relieved. Cui Hao set up a small fire, roasting the dried rice from the guild, and a faint bread fragrance rose from the air. Tang Long divided the water capsule, and his heart was twisted like a tide. "I just wanted to go home before, but now, protecting them is more important than anything else." This determination makes the fragments more stable. Xiao Xian sipped her saliva and said in a low voice, "Tang Long, half of the core has been obtained, and the artifact is awakened. But from ancient books, the Mystery Palace is not eternal. The collapse crisis left by the War of Gods is approaching. Those who gather the fragments can summon the gods to stabilize the Mystery Palace. Otherwise, the layer collapses, and the land will fall into a tide of monsters. Our team is not only fragments, but also to protect this world." Cui Hao pointed his head and shines his axe. "Boy, have you heard it? Jing Xiong wants to help the ambitious people to govern, so we have to start first. Next, in the deep and clean area, I feel more ruthlessly waiting." Tang Long held the fragments tightly, and the flames reflected his face, and his eyes lit up, face together. "The way home is still long, but you are not afraid." Outside the alcove, the hot wind blows and growls, indicating that the crisis is getting worse. The three of them are watching each other, shoulder to shoulder, ready for a new battle. The fire in the alcove was extinguished, leaving only a faint red light, reflecting the tired and determined faces of the three of them. Cui Hao wrapped his wind, rubbed his furious scar, and said with a rough voice, "Boy, this 6th floor fire makes my bones crisp. The guild camp is close to me, so I will replenish it first, and then on the 7th floor I heard that it was frozen and deep, and it would be a waste of life." Xiao Xian clicked the head and took out several bottles of blue medicine from it and sent it to them. "Restore medicine, and drink it can replenish magic and physical strength. Tang Long, your fire source divine power allows us to come, but the ice layer will weaken it. The ancient book mentioned that the 7th layer contains the ice fragments of the Frosthua set. After collecting half a set, the artifact can balance the dual power of the fire-ice. Our team needs to turn this way." Tang Long took the medicine bottle and drank it all the time, and he felt like a stream slid into his abdomen, washing away the palpitations of the heat. He touched his chest, 6 pieces of fragments gathered in a row, and the red light of fire turned blue. "Thank you, Xiao Xian. I used to just live and go home, but now I feel that power is calling me. Pursuing it is not only a road, but also a way to protect you. I passed by my heart alone. This transformation is as profitable as fragments." From being moved to being proactively chasing, he is no longer the confused time traveler. The three left the alcove, and the night wind blew away the smell of sulfur, and the lights on the guild camp were bright. The hunters silly at the bonfire, Cui Hao was familiar with the road and found iron craftsmen to strengthen the decoration. He also released several pieces of rock crystals that were rolled from the 6th level. The iron craftsman knocked on the ding drilling. Cui Hao's giant axe was embedded in ice-resistant runes, and his armor was covered with warm layers. He laughed and said, "Old Cui's axe head is like cutting ice dragons like tofu." "Boy, are you here too?" Tang Long shook his head, and his senses were activated, and his golden fingers guided the entrance to the 7th level like a cold wind, the secret ice door of the snow field outside the city. "No, the fragments will give me the answer. Let's go." That guy, Xingxiong must have gritted his teeth behind him. The entrance to the 7th floor is like a cracked ice wall, hidden in the valley beside the snow field. The wind was blowing wildly, the snowflakes sank like blades, and the biting coldness instantly penetrated into the bone marrow. Chuihao's reinforced armor also emitted a slight sound of frost cracks. Xiaoshuan's stick spread its warm current shield, and the blue light wrapped around the three people like a thin mat, blocking the invasion of the snow. "It's the key to being severe cold," she said softly. "Chuihao, your equipment can stand on the front. Tang Long, feel the fragments and lead the way. I maintain the boundary, but the magic will be consumed slowly." Tang Long clicked his head and stepped into the ice gate. The world was instantly white. The passage is like a crystal palace, the wall is a translucent ice wall, reflecting the dark blue light, the air is cold and dry, and every breath is like swallowing ice residue, and the lungs are invisible to hurt. The ground was covered with frost and snow, and when I stepped on it, it made a crunch and crisp sound. The wind was everywhere and the whispered in the ice cream, like a ghost crying. The golden finger was activated, and a blue-gold line of ice appeared in the field, and the heartbeat was moving like a bulging, pointing directly to the depth of 800 meters. The ice fragments are in the core of the ice palace. There are ice skating traps on the road, but there are hot spring cracks on the wall on the left, which can squeeze the cold. Chuihao explored the way forward, strengthening the axe to knock on the ice wall, breaking the ice and flying, bringing a crisp sound of impact. "Boy, this layer is slipping like oil." "Chuihao, I'm going to stomp." "Xiaoxian, teach ice magic." "What's the world broken?" He walked along and said, "The beard frost, it won't be less arrogant." Xiaoxian smiled, holding the shield and murmured, "Okay, Tang Long, your fire source is strong, and learning ice can balance it. Imagine the cold air is like a piece of silk, extracted from the fragments, and the palms are condensed with frost. Try, don't be impatient, ice is the method of patience." She stretched out her hand to show her sight, and snowflakes appeared in her palm, and the passage was slightly sluggish. Tang Long followed, closed his eyes and felt the red fragments in his chest and the golden wires were scattered together. He stretched out his palms, and the coldness stormed out from his fingertips. First, it slightly turned into ice crystals. "It's done!" It's like controlling the flow of water, swelling the air. He swept his hand, a small cluster of frost flowers fell, and the ground was covered with thin ice, and the pleasure was poured out. "Wisdom grows, from force to elemental control, this is my progress." The three of them are moving forward, which is suitable for good. Chuihao's reinforced equipment produced a low bird, holding an ice prick, and the spikes shot like arrows. His axe swept into ice powder, and the snow fog spread, bringing a pungent cold smell. "Ah, this rune is worth it. Boy, your frost art is matched with my axe, and it's unrivaled." The passage opened to form an ice palace. The high dome was like a rolling iceberg, the blue light reflected a colorful phantom, and the air was filled with the cracking of crystals. The golden line pointed directly at the central ice throne, but suddenly, a low dragon roar rolled from the top of the dome, shaking the ice wall. The guardian of the ice dragon leaned down with a wingspan of 10 meters. The flakes were like blue stones. His eyes were as cold as a lake. The cold breath in his mouth was spitting out, and the fog was like clouds. It instantly slammed the ground, making the shield buzzing. "Ice dragon! Ancient beast guarding the fragments!" Chuihao roared, the axe slapped, strengthening the armor and holding the first wave of cold breath. Ice frost climbed over his shoulders. He gritted his teeth and said, "Boy, Xiaoxian, side wings." Chuihao slapped the front. Xiaoxian retreated, and the ice light at the tip of the staff condensed. "Ice shield rise." The blue light transformed shield slammed the dragon's tail and swept it. The tail was like an ice whip, and the sound of the collision was like thunder, and the ice was broken. She gasped, "Tang Long, learn from me close to you, and use ice magic to speed it up before fusing the fragments." The ice dragon roared, the wings fanned, the snowstorm rolled up, the field was blurred, and the cold was like a thorn in the skin. Chuihao rushed forward, and the axe blade slashed the dragon's claws, the ice chips cracked, the cold blood sprayed, and the axe body was swept. He hummed and retreated, hard. This guy is thick-skinned, Chui Hao's equipment can't last long. Tang Long's heartbeat accelerated, and the terrible environment made the team unable to breathe. The cold weakened the source of fire, and the ice in his palm was still tender. I feel so low, don't panic, I have to turn back from survival to this step. He shouted, Brother Chui, Xiao Xian, lead it to the ice throne. Use the environment. The golden wire guided him, and he flashed his body, and the ice zipper in his palm was like a net, trying to probe towards the dragon wings, holding a small piece of flare, and the dragon's body was slightly stiff. Xiao Xian was convinced, and the ice arrow shot and tied the dragon's tail. Tang Long, fragments are on the throne's pedestal. After taking the fusion, we will counter. Chui Hao seduced the head of the axe, and the dragon's mouth was sprayed with cold breath. He shook the ground, and the ground was slid, evacuating the ice on the ground, and evacuating it. Tang Long took the opportunity to diamond the throne, and the dragon claws came. He used the new ice art to sliding under the claws, touching the base. The ice fragments float like blue hearts, and the palms fall instantly, and 6 blocks merge. Second lock fusion successfully, Frost Hua divine power unblocked. The host's cold air is controlled by 100%, the fire and ice are balanced, and the endless realm is exploded. The scope is frozen, and it is frozen and the objects are trapped, and the control is continued. The power is like a glacier dam, rushing into the body. Tang Long feels that the veins are like crystal, the cold current in the field is controllable, and every air becomes a weapon. The volcano that turns into a crumbling heart. I will no longer survive, I will pursue this power, for the team and for the world. It's a little fun. Tang Long rose up and shouted, the ultimate realm open. The blue light in his palm exploded, the cold air retaliated against the environment like a tide, and the ice palace transformed instantly. The original snowstorm turned into his realm, and the cold breath of the dragon's body was reversed, turning into a chain to surround itself. The Bing Long was shocked, his wing fan was weak, and the flakes were shattered and it roared to try to bleed, but Tang Long controlled the cold current and sucked the dragon's mouth and inside the trap. Boy, it's amazing. Chui Hao laughed loudly, and the reinforcement axe took advantage of the opportunity to slash the dragon's head. The ice shattered, and the cold blood fell like ice beads. Xiao Xuan's ice arrow helps and holds the dragon's legs. Tang Long, your wisdom, the environment becomes a weapon, this is growth. The ice dragon thrust and its tail swept wildly, but Tang Long's body was like a flash of ice shadows, and the sword light wrapped around the cold air, and it hit the weak point of the head. The blade cuts into the blade, bursting out inside. The dragon's body is stiff, the cracks are like a spider's net, and it falls to the ground, its head falls, the ice palace is shattered in sounds, and the cold mist spreads, bringing a clear and victorious smell. The team gasped. Chui Hao patted Tang Long's shoulder, boy, from fire to ice, you leader. Chui Hao followed Ding. Xiao Xian checked the fragments and killed him. The Frost Hua set is half finished. The artifact's first awakening line ancient books are hidden in the dragon's nest, which reminds you of the collapse of the spirit. As I was cleaning up, I was panicking and walked from the channel. Xing Xiong chased after the enemy with his storm, his face turned blue. Don't die, that boy is snatched again. But the ice palace was cold and the enemy's subordinates slid into the ice crack. The 2 little men were staggering. Xing Xiong gritted his teeth and retreated, retreat. Double this revenge. The competition was upgraded, and he lost his subordinates, with a deeper ruthlessness in his eyes. Tang Long looked at their backs and held the sword tightly. Xing Xiong, your ambition will turn into ice. The 3 of them went deep into the dragon's nest, and Xiao Xian pried out the scroll from the ice wall, and opened the blue light flash. Look, this is a set map. The 8th level has a fire-ice fusion core, but the collapse crisis is approaching, and the monster tide is about to rush. Tang Long, we have to speed up. Chui Hao pointed, boy, the next battle is even more fierce. Tang Long ignited the flame of pursuit in his heart, and the cold responded violently. The figure of the team did not get into the ice fog, and the snow was roaring invisibly, and the crisis was like a shadow. The cold fog of the ice palace was scattered like a thin gauze, and the 3 figures were stretched in the blue light. Chui Hao carried the scroll and said with a rough voice, "Boy, this map is painted like a ghost talisman. It is said that the 8th floor is a dark maze, with no light and no sound, and he is specializing in playing with the inner demon." The bastard of Jingxiong must have put a slap near the entrance, and we asked. Xiao Xian put away her staff, and her purple eyes reflected on the Bing. "The ancient scroll warns that the darkness tests the heart, and the phantom will dig out what you fear the most. Tang Long, your fire ice is balanced, but the inner demon comes. Can the golden fingers calm down? Teams are brave, don't fuck them." Tang Long pointed his head, his chest fragments were volatile like his heartbeat, and his heart was filled with anxiety. From time to time, he was hard on the surface, but he still had fear of the unknown in his bones, the loneliness of overtime and the faces of his family. How could he not go forever? But he held the sword tightly and said in a low voice, "Let's go, I'm not afraid of you." The entrance to the 8th level is like a black hole that swallows light, hidden at the bottom of the valley in the ice field. The wind blows out from it, scattering the damp moldy smell and hidden low words, like countless sounds whispering in the ears. Chui Hao opened the secret stone door, and the darkness swept in an instant, swallowing it without any slightestness, leaving only the sticky reverberation of the talc on the wet stalk. The air is as cold as a tomb, the walls are rough and consciously moving, like a living thing breathing. Xiao Xuan's warm light shield spread out, but the blue light dimmed in the darkness, illuminating only 3 steps. "Be careful, this layer is empty, and the monsters rely on sound and eat," Chui Hao said softly, and the axe explored the way forward, knocking on the wall and making a whisper, and resounding like an echo wall. Tang Long activated his golden finger, and a dim silver line appeared in the field, with a weak movement, pointing directly to a depth of kilometers. The fragments are in the core of the Mystery Palace, the Black Temple. But the feeling is trembling, as if it is disturbed by something. After walking 100 meters, the darkness deepened, and the shield light almost went out. Suddenly, Tang Long stepped aside, and a phantom appeared in front of him. It was not a monster, but a familiar office, with lights buzzing, and his colleagues' ridicule. "Tang Long, you are a waste, you will never make a fortune even if you work overtime until you die." His heart was tight, his vision was twisted, and his mother's face turned white in the phantom, and he stretched out his hand. "Son, why don't you come back? This world is not yours." Afraid was like an ice-stinging heart. He took a step back and fell to the ground. The sound of the thunder magnified in the darkness, and his heart was drifting. Is this the inner demon? I was a escaping guy since then. After traveling through time, I was still afraid, fearing that I would become stronger and I would lose my true heart, fearing that I would not be able to go back to protect my family. Chui Hao turned his head and tried to find out, "Boy, what's wrong? Phantom?" Xiao Xian approached and grabbed his arm, with a soft voice. "Tang Long is the inner demon of the dark layer. It digs your deepest fear, not the real body. Close your eyes and listen to me to guide me meditation, and retrieve the movement of the golden finger. Imagine the fragments like lights, illuminating the fear." Tang Long gritted his teeth and closed his eyes, and the phantom in the darkness became even more intense. Jingxiong's sneer, his partner fell in a pool of blood, and he faced the burning palace alone, and the monster swallowed the vast land without a large amount. My heart beats like a drum, my sweat slides down my head, and I feel the ice. But Xiao Xuan's voice was like an essay. Take a deep breath and feel the fragments of feelings. They are your power, not your burden. Afraid of being a shackle, breaking through it, you will be free. The golden finger responded, his chest was steadily stable, and the silver line lit up in the brain, like the silver river penetrated the dark curtain. Tang Long's inner thoughts turned. What are you afraid of? From the bird to the leader, I have changed. My family is waiting for me to come home, but the world needs to be protected. Afraid that he shattered like glass. His eyes were clear and clear. The darkness was no longer the same. A silver light overflowed from his eyes. Xiao Xian, thank you. I saw that the road was on the left side of the crack. The inner demon was broken, and the power was great. The pleasure is like a current swelling. Tang Long feels that the fire and ice power are balanced, and the inner swelling is like a steel. Chui Hao patted his shoulder. "Boy, your eyes are bright. It looks like cat eyes. Chui Hao's clothes, this turnover is because of you." The three of them diamonded into cracks. The passage was narrow, the wall was sticky like a spider, and the air was filled with blood and iron smell. The silver line guided the acceleration, but suddenly a deep breath and stomp in front of him were in a mess. Chui Hao stopped and roared, "Ambushes! Qing Xiong smell, this bastard helped." In the darkness, the torch was shining light, and Jing Xiong blocked the passage with 10 Alliance minions. He used his knife to reflect the silver light and smiled on his face. "Baby, is it fun to have a heart demon? I heard from the guild spy, you broke the ice layer, this 6th piece of darkness is my setting. Brothers, please capture Chui Hao's old dog alive and force him to hand over the ancient scroll." The battle broke out, the minions and teeth came like wolves, some people held the net, some people fled the chain, and the figures were blurred in the darkness. Chui Hao's axe turned around and smashed 2 flying, but Jing Xiong was cunning. A magician on his wing also made a smoke fog. The black smoke fog was spreading, and the sour smell sniffed. Chui Hao was caught in a cough, and a chain buckled his legs and dragged it into an ambush circle. The shield soldier slammed the handle of the axe again, and Chui Hao fell to the ground with a dagger slammed in his chest, and the smell of blood was heavy. He growled, "Boys, run. Chui Hao can't hold it anymore." Xiao Xian shot out the ice arrow, holding 2 minions, but the smoke was irritated. She was pushed down and her stick was snatched. "Tang Long, brother Chui is seriously injured." Tang Long's heart was burning like fire. Seeing Chui Hao lying in a pool of blood, he felt angry. "This rude man, I will treat me as a brother since the day I picked me up. Can't let him die." The silver line rushed forward, pressing the broken pieces on his chest. "Fusion block 6 dark fragments, come." But the fragments are still at the core, and his golden fingers are lit in his brain. Mind Demon Breakthrough Activation, Pre-fusion of Dark Vision. The host will borrows core power to unlock the night vision, penetrate the darkness, and feels weak. A black light stormed out from his eyes. Tang Long's vision was like an eye of the sky, and the night turned into a gray world. The movements of each minion were clear. Jing Xiong was hidden behind him, the magician was low, and the shield soldiers were injured. "Roll open!" Tang Long roared, his body swept like a shadow, the sword light wrapped in silver light, and 3 minions swept, and the night view locked the weak point, the sword pierced the throat, and the blood sprayed like a fog. He snapped his neck and shut his backhand, and his hands fell to the ground. The smoke was invisible, and the fire and ice balance turned into darkness. The silver light in the palm of the palm burst out like an invisible blade cutting the air. The chest of the 2 minions holding the net cracked, and the blood was filled with blood. The fishy smell spread in the dark. Jing Xiong glared and snatched his eyes from his hiding place, and slammed his sword and said, "Boy, what's wrong with your eyes? Night view? Impossible." But Tang Long decided on the way of the knife, avoided his side, kicked him in the knee with 1 foot, and used the force to lift it up, pressing the back of the knife, and sparking all the sparks. Jing Xiong retreated, his face turned pale. "Retreat. This guy is hanging." The minions collapsed, and the remaining few scrambled and escaped, and the dark passage was filled with silence and stuttering. Tang Long did not chase him, and knelt down to help Chui Hao. The healing light was spreading, the green light wrapped around the fire and ice balanced, the wound was as swelling as the melting of the ballast, and the blood stopped. Chui Hao gasped and said, "Boy, you saved Lao Chui. It's great to watch them at night. From now on, Chui Hao's life is yours." Xiao Xian got up, and when she was holding her stick, she was hurt. Her purple eyes were grateful. "Tang Long, your anger is the power of growth. The team is loyal and honest, and it is solid because of you." The 3 retreated to the safety alcove. Chui Hao gasped on the wall. Tang Long was dividing the water bag, and the silver light in the dark made the sight warm. Xiao Xian suddenly opened her mouth low and her voice shook. "Tang Long, thank you for protecting us. I am not a genius in the guild, but grew up in the village next to the maze. My parents are the hunters, and they were the central demons in the 8th level, killing each other. I witnessed everything, the dark phantom, and still dreamed. Join the guild to learn to control the demons and protect orphans like me. But when I meet you, the team will make me regain my family." Tang Long felt warm and shook her hand. "Xiao Xian, you're past. I understand. Before traveling through time, I was also a lonely office worker, afraid of death. But now, the motor is not only home, protecting this world and preventing the crisis of collapse and damage. The magical artifacts are gathered, and we are in a state of peace and confusion together, not letting more people be like your parents." Cui Hao pointed his head and smiled roughly under his beard. "Boy, Xiao Xian, old Cui has no family, but you are. The dark layer has passed, the core fragments are approaching. Jing Xiong's goods are so bitter that they taste it, and they will be even more cruel next time." The silver line was moving to the drama, and Tang Long stood up. "Rest? The dark palace is waiting. Go forward together." The three of them shouldered shoulders, and they were still walking in the darkness, silenced, indicating a deeper crisis. The dark passage was as sharp as a twisted door, and the silver line was moving more and more rapidly, and Tang Long's heartbeat accelerated. He pushed open the stone door, and a dazzling light burst out from it, accompanied by the thunder sound of the birds, making his eardrums buzz. The air instantly became dry and brought electricity, and the fine and silent electricity jumped on the skin, like countless small pins. Thorn. The moldy smell on the 8th level is dispersed, replaced by the pungent smell of ozone and the hidden scorched earth. The 9th level, the Temple of Thunder. "Boy, this floor is bright, but it makes my hair growl." Cui Hao growled, strengthening the handle of the axe and hitting the ground, giving off a metal crispy sensation. The dark frost marks left on his armor have not yet completely subsided and have begun to slightly burn. "Xiao Xian, the shield is upgraded, don't let lightning strike." Xiao Xian clicked the head, and the staff was slammed, and the blue shield spread out, and the edges were hidden and the arcs emerged in the channel. Her purple eyes swept over Tang Long, and there was a close voice in her voice. "The inner demon of the dark layer has changed your electricity, Tang Long. The 9th layer is the elemental test, and the thunder fragments are hidden in the core of the temple, which can unblock the power of the tribe. But the boss is the thunder god, and the internet can penetrate the defense. Where's your golden finger?" Tang Long took a deep breath, and the movement of the fragments gathering on his chest responded like thunder. The golden finger was activated, and a flashing blue-purple gold wire appeared in the field, winding towards a depth of 1,500 meters, pointing directly to a floating thunder cloud. Sacrificial. Just at the heart of the temple, there are electric traps on the road, but there is a middle tower in the middle, which can leverage. "Brother Cui, you defend the front line. Xiao Xian, speed reduction and help. I mainly attack the core. Team Qixin, we will win this level." The three of them entered the temple. The passage of the temple was as smooth as a wall. The wall was a conductive metal, the surface was engraved with flash runes, and each step was accompanied by a low buzzing bird. The smell of electricity in the air made the tip of the tongue numb. The sound of footsteps is rumbling, and the thunder in the vast distance is like a giant waking up. Cui Hao opened the way forward, his axe was blowing, and an electric arc came. His armor rune lit up, and he resisted the electric shock. The sparks were filled with heat and waves. He snorted, "Don't die, it's numb." "Boy, I feel that it's accurate, don't let Cui Hao get thunder in vain." After walking for 500 meters, the passage opened into a thunder cloud hall. The dome was like a storm, and the blue-purple snake was wandering, and the sound of the roar was not endless. The golden line pointed directly to the middle tower in front, but suddenly the electric light in the hall was flourishing, and dozens of thunder and electricity elements condensed from the cloud layer. They were translucent electric human figures, eyes were like thunder balls, and their limbs were dancing with electric whips. The air was twisted, and the smell of ozone was heavy. The elemental king in the head is even bigger, the lightning core in the body moves, the internet is like a spider and scatters, instantly blocking the hall. Thunder element group. Scatter. Cui Hao roared, and the axe swung, and the shield mode was activated. He was in the front, and the axe face was like a shield to meet the first wave of electric whip. The current hit and the spark exploded, which made him take a step back. Half a step, his arms numb as fire, but he gritted his teeth and calmed down. Cui Hao stopped. Xiao Xian, slow them down, boy, look for a break. Xiao Xian took a few steps back, and the purple light at the tip of the stick condensed. Time slows down, frost. The blue-purple light line shot out, like a wire surrounding the elemental group. The elemental movements fluctuate, the electric whip dances slowly, and the thunder sounds grow into a low moan. She gasped and said, I can't help the whole scene, Tang Long, the fragments are on the top of the tower. After the fusion, can your fire ice guide thunder? The elemental group roared, the internet was tightening, Cui Haoduan prevented the buzzing birds from coming out, the current penetrated into the armor, his face turned pale, and the beads of sweat evaporated into a mist. Boy, hurry up. Cui Hao's shield is about to melt. An elemental body broke through and reduced speed, and the whip whipped towards Xiao Xian. She was too fast to flash, and the shield cracked, and the electric shock made her fall to the ground and twitch, and her purple eyes flashed in pain. Tang Long, go! Tang Long's heart was astonished as he watched his partner slam, and his heart was determined, from the inner demon to this, I can no longer let them fight for me. The golden wire flashed wildly, and he rushed towards the middle tower, with an electric arc like a rain basin. He glided with ice and ice to avoid most of the time, but a whip wiped his shoulders, causing numbness and pain to scatter all over his body like fire. The tower body is a conductive pillar, and the thunder fragments at the top are flashing like stars. He climbed to the top of the tower and reached out to grab it. The blue amethyst stone fell from his palm, instantly melting into current and pouring into his body. Fused successfully, lightning TV and unblocking. The host lightning resistance is 100%, absorbs electricity and converts it, and explodes the thunder shield backlash, turning lightning into a shield, counterattack, and kills the scope. The power exploded like a thunderstorm, and Tang Long felt that the flow in each air became a boost. I feel alone in my heart, I am no longer a novice in elements, this harmony is my starting point. He walked down the top of the tower and yelled, Thunder shield open. The blue-purple electric light in his palm exploded, and a layer of lightning shield wrapped around his body. The network of the elemental group hit. Not only was it injured, it was absorbed, and the shield surface was reflected like a lens, and the current reversed into a violent thunder whip, thrusting towards the attacker. It's a little fun. The first wave of elemental sarcasm, the body exploded, the lightning was 4 times, and the surrounding 5 points were killed. The smell of burning burned in the air was spreading, and the hall was shaking like an earthquake. Tang Long's body was like a flash of a movie, and the power of backlash made his speed soar. The slaying light wrapped around thunder, and 3 elements were swept, the thunder core shattered, the arc exploded like a smoke, and the fragments scattered. He laughed, Brother Cui, Xiao Xian, look at me. Lei is my weapon. Cui Hao turned over, and the axe head swept the wings of Qingwei's side and grinned, boy, it's amazing. Cui Hao's shield borrows you thunder and chops them over. He rushed forward, and the axe blade guided the electric power, using Tang Long's backlash current, turned into a thunder axe, hitting the forelimb of the elemental king, the electric galvanized and the thunder blew the ears. Xiao Xian got up, and the speed reduction line strengthened. The elemental group was moving like a slow lens. She shot out the ice arrow and blocked the thunder core. Tang Long, counterclimax. Team keep up. The elemental king roared and summoned the thunder god Bamboo, a giant leopard, which was tilted from the cloud layer, with wings like thunder wings, and minions, and teeth swelling, and as fast as flashes. It rushed towards Cui Hao, grabbed it with its claws. Cui Hao shook the shield, and the current slammed his body. He flew backwards to the wall, vomiting blood. Don't die. The boss is too fierce, boy, go ahead. Tang Long's heart was ignited, and the backlash shield was fully opened. The wings of the thunder god's beast swept over. He took the energy into it like a tide. The shield surface expanded into a thunder ball, popping out, and directly stomped in. The lightning burst out, the beast's body twitched, the flake was charred, and the howling shook the top of the dome. Fight quickly. Tang Long chased and stinged the thunder core. The power guided the electric current and exploded, the beast body cracked, and the electric galvanized everywhere. He absorbed 3 waves of attacks in succession, and turned into a thunder net to cover the remaining elemental group. The whole field was killed. The thunderbirds were like a crossing, and the large hall turned into a sea of electric storms. The scorched earth smelled and the elemental body was soaked. The temple was scattered, Tang Long was panting, the 7th fragments floated up from the beast's bones, the falling palms merged, and the thunder and stability were solid. He felt the elements in his body like a junction, the balance of fire, ice, and thunder, and the mysterious potential was like thunder and thunder. Interchange, from the bird of cabbage to controlling the 3 elements, I am no longer a visitor. In this world, I have to protect it to the end. Cui Hao stood up with blood and patted him on the shoulder. Boy, I won the 7th block. Cui Hao regards you as a leader. It's so cool, the boss is like a revenge. Xiao Xian was injured and smiled. Tang Long, your growth, the temple surrendered. The ancient scroll said that there were 7.5 sets of artifacts about to wake up. But I heard that this shock. The hall suddenly shook, and the wall cracked and finally lit. A dark fog was scattered in the blue and purple arc, and a low crack sound came from afar, like the earth moaning. Xiao Xian's face changed, the sign of collapse. The level of the mystery is unstable, the cracks left by the gods expand, and the monster tide is about to flood. Xing Xiong's ambition accelerates this. He snatches the fragments, in order to control the collapse. Before the words finished, a wolf's breathed from the passage. Xing Xiong rushed in. The wolf's leather armor was charred and broken, his arms were covered with blood and flesh, and his sword broke the blade. There were only 2 soldiers left behind him, his eyes were red and red. Tang Long. You monster. The 7th block is mine. He swept out the sword and the electric shocked, but Tang Long's thunder shield flashed, and the backlash current hit. Xing Xiong fell to the ground, his chest was charred and his blood bubbles flipped. Xing Xiong, your alliance has been destroyed, where's the ambition? Tang Long said coldly, pointing at his throat, it's a collapse, are you still snatching? Xing Xiong coughed up blood, his eyes flashed with hope and resentment. Boy, the guild will look for you at the top of the guild. In the end, he was in the core of collapse. I won't die. He gritted his teeth and rushed, and the soldiers dragged him into the crack. His feet were in a mess, leaving a ground of blood, indicating a more ruthless storm. Cui Hao shook his axe. Let him run away and keep it for the final joke. Boy, this sign is not good, the 10th level is very clear, we have to be nervous. Tang Long pointed his head, held the fragments tightly, and the lightning reflected his face, and his heart was as calm as thunder. The collapse crisis, I'll come to rest. Team, we'll fight the final layer together. The 3 of them walked deeper along the side. The thunderbolt in the temple was weak, but the low roars underground became even stronger. The cracked red light in the darkness was like a thunderstorm. The thunderbolt sound of the temple was still rumbling around his ears. Tang Long and the other 2 crawled out of the cracks in the 9th level, and a chaotic scent came towards him, scattering the sour smell of metal rot and the hind space twisted and buzzing. The 10th level deep and purified entrance is like a torn void crack, and the surrounding air twisted into a whirlpool, revealing purple-black fog, making people dizzy. Cui Hao gasped, and the giant axe leaned against his shoulder, and the traces on the reinforced armor were still slightly flashing. Boy, this deep and purified layer feels like entering a black hole. The old bird of the guild said that the space inside is in a mess, and monsters can teleport. Xiao Xian, do you have a map of the ancient scroll? Xiao Xian slams her head, her purple eyes swept over the crack, her staff is lightly held, and the blue shield has risen, but the edges are unstable, as if they are being pulled by invisible force. There is no complete picture, but the signs of collapse are strong, the cracks in the space are widening, and the call of the artifact fragments will be chaotic. Tang Long, what do you think? The 8th and 9th boxes are the keys of the chaos set. If you gather half of the set, you can wake up the artifact and calm the mystery. Tang Long pointed his head, and the 7 pieces of his chest were moving like crazy. When the golden fingers were activated, 2 chaotic purple gold wires appeared in the field, one pointed to the void tower that was deep and the other winding towards the right. the line is twisted and unstable, like a living thing piercing. The 8th block is in the void tower on the left wing, and the 9th block is in the right layer. But the feeling is trembling, and the space is unstable. We act separately, Brother Chui. You and I will take 1 block each. Xiao Xian connects in the middle, and it will collapse, and use your magic to stabilize the space. Jing Xiong, that guy must have a knife nearby. Chui Hao grinned and slapped his axe. Okay. Old Chui goes to the left wing and cuts everything over. Xiao Xian, protect himself. Boy, don't show off, you should shout at me all the time. He patted Tang Long's shoulder. His strength was as heavy as a brother, turned into a crack in the left wing, and his steps turned into a low echo, accompanied by the low wing in the void. Xiao Xian said in a low voice, be careful, Tang Long. The chaos layer will amplify the enemy, and Jing Xiong's resentment may cause changes. She slapped her staff to strengthen the shield, and the blue light spreads like a thin net. Tang Long pointed his head, held the handle, and rushed to the right nest. The deep and pure inside is like an invisible purple fog palace. The wall is not a physical body, but a flowing void whirlpool. The touch is like stepping on cotton. The electromagnetic stinging pain in the air is spreading, and the crackling sound of the tearing space is everywhere, making people feel pressured. Tang Long walked forward 100 meters, and the golden line guided the entrance of the nest, but suddenly, a sharp laughter burst out from the fog, accompanied by the iron chain's rays. Several black shadows surrounded, and the head was Jing Xiong's deputy, a tall and thin assassin named Blackthorn, with a masked black robe, holding a dagger in his hand, and his eyes were red as blood. 5 or 6 chaotic guards behind him, their skin twisted into void cracks, and their claws were like space blades, bringing out hissings torn the air while dancing. Boy, Boss Xing, let me tell you, your team is dispersed. He Ji sneered, and the dagger flashed, and the space chain was broken out from the void vortex, and it took Tang Long's waist. Tang Long flicked his body to avoid it, the sword light wrapped around thunder and counterattacked, and the electric light exploded open a guardian chest, and the flesh and blood twisted into a black fog and dissipated. But Blackthorns were cunning in teleporting. The dagger rolled over his shoulder, leaving a space crack, and the pain was like tearing a soul. His heart sank. Xiao Xian. Brother Chui. In response, Xiao Xian's blue shield suddenly dimmed, and the right-wing nest was coming to fight. Jing Xiong absolutely retaliated. In the void tower, Chui Hao's axe swept wildly, and had cut over 3 guards. The smell of blood mixed with the sourness of the void, but he suddenly heard Xiao Xian scream coming from the middle, Chui Hao. They are urging me. Tang Long, don't come. Jing Xiong's soldiers rushed out, and the iron chain hanged over Xiao Xian and dragged it into the depths of the nest. She slapped her staff, and her purple eyes were flickered. Tang Long's brain was buzzing, and his heart was burning. Xiao Xian, since the day he shared, she was the soul of the team, and she couldn't let something happen to her. He yelled, swept the 2 guards, and the blood fog sprayed, and the fishy and hot surface was swept towards the nest. Hey Ji, tell Jing Xiong that I will end this time. Hey Ji sneered, come on, boy. Boss Xing is here, waiting for you to die. That woman, Xiao Xian, has become a tyrant. The nest is like an invisible purple-black cave, the walls are swirling, and the fragments in the air are dancing like glass residue, which brings stinging pain when the skin is drawn. Tang Long's single gun entered, stepped on the unstable void, and made a gurgling sound. The golden line is crazy, but the veins of the 8th block fragment are guided by the movements. It is in the core of the nest, Jing Xiong's hiding place. He took a deep breath, pressed the 7 pieces of his chest, and his will was like a rumbling sound. Fusion leveraged the power to unblock the space. The fragments gathered, and chaotic waves emerged from the balance of fire and ice thunder. Multi-block prefusion successful, space teleportation and delocking. The host uses chaos to teleport 10 meters in a short distance, 5 consecutive times, consuming physical strength but without CD. A void vortex swirled inside the body, and Tang Long felt his body as light smoke. His vision stretched, and each crack in the space became a shortcut. I have a unique flash of my heart, from the team to the tiger's den. This test is my peak preheat. Xing Xiong, you are stepping on the stone. I want to become stronger and protect everything. It's a little fun. Black Thorns brought 10 guards to block the passage. The iron network opened like a space stern, and Xing Xiong's voice came from deep. Boy, Xiao Xian is in my hand. Hand over the fragments, otherwise she will die first. Xiao Xian was hurried in the core fortress. The iron chain was tightened, her face turned pale, and she shouted, Tang Long, go, don't worry about me. Tang Long sneered, his figure swayed, and the first teleportation was activated, like a ghost passing through the iron network. The guards stared at him without reacting. The lightning was flashed, and the thunder wrapped in the space blade. He killed 2 fronters in an instant, twisting into a black fog, and the smell of blood instantly spread. Showa roared and snatched his paws, but he instantly 3 meters away. Afterwards, a snail pierced the throat of Blackthorn's deputy, and the electric light exploded, his body twitched and fell to the ground, and his nose was burnt and smelly. Blackthorn, your teleportation? Too slow. The Blackthorn face was blue, and the 2 daggers teleported backwards. The chains in the space came like snakes. Boy, open. Eat my void thorn. But Tang Long predicted the cracks. His body was like a smoke, and he shuttled through the guard group. Every time he teleported, he would kill him. The blade burst out from the void and cut off his claws. The space waves of fire and ice thunder fused open the 3 guards' chests. Fragments flew, and the caves were roaring and ripping. As refreshing as electricity, Tang Long shuttled through the god of death, guarding the wings everywhere. The whirlpool of blood swirled, swallowing the limbs, and the smell of iron lenses in the air was heavy. Xing Xiong rushed out from the fortress, with a blade in his hand, a scar on his face twisted, and his eyes were as resentful as fire. Tang Long, you destroyed my alliance. Xiao Xian is human now. He kicked Xiao Xian at him, and the iron chain was tight, and she hummed. But Tang Long teleported and bullied himself, and 5 moments of fire broke out, and he directly grabbed Xing Xiong's chest. The sword light wrapped around the void blade, forcing him to retreat. Deputy Xing Xiong, a powerful chaos warrior, came and smashed it down heavily. The space waves shook the cave and the gravel flew. Deputy, go ahead. Kill him. Xing Xiong roared. The deputy was like a mountain. Tang Long teleported and avoided. The backhand space drill pierced into the joint. The thunder and electricity exploded, the knees shattered, and he knelt on the ground and roared. But he did not fall, and his void arm stretched out and grabbed it. Tang Long's heart swelled, and the vortex inside his body opened. Finally, he teleported straight into the secondary hand, and the fire, ice, and thunder in his palm exploded. Elemental void explosion. The energy was swallowed like a black hole, and the deputy's chest was pierced, and the flesh and blood turned into a fog. He stared and fell down, smashing the ground, shaking the sacrificial shaking. Xing Xiong's face turned pale and his blade was swept out, but Tang Long teleported to the bottom of the sword, and his knee hit his abdomen. Xing Xiong vomited blood and flew, hit the wall whirlpool, and his leather armor torn. Boy, you have such strength. Xing Xiong was panting, his eyes flashing with fear. Tang Longjian pointed at his throat, and his voice was as firm as iron. Xing Xiong, your ambition is my test. From mocking me, to now, you are just the past. The crisis of collapse is imminent, and fragments are not toys, but keys to saviors. His heart was as calm as the peak was prematurely warmed, and Tang Long felt the power was like a tide. The teleportation of space made him unrestrained and could not resist. From a single person to a team to guard the team, this growth made him look at Xing Xiong like a fowl. Xing Xiong gritted his teeth, and the void knot had a last striking effort, but Cui Hao's roar came from the passage. Boy, Cui Hao is here. The giant axe smashed into it like thunder, sweeping 2 slaughtered swords. The axe blade cut off the knot, and Xiao Xian was trapped. She lifted up her staff, and the ice arrow shot through Xing Xiong's shoulders, and the blood was released. Cui Hao laughed and patted Tang Long on the back. Boy, just save someone. Cui Hao is a little bit off, but the 8th piece of fragment has been obtained. This bastard, leave it for the guild to review. Xing Xiong saw that the victory was not good, so he fled into the vortex. Next to the body of his deputy, the ninth piece of fragment floated up. Tang Long rose, and the fusion instantly, the space teleported in solid, the number of fragments approached intact, and the movement was like a heartbeat responding to his victory. Xiaoxian rubbed her wrists, her purple eyes were wet. Tang Long, thank you. The team reunited, we are stronger. Cui Hao pointed his head, the three of them shoulder to shoulder, the wind of the void blew away the blood, the deepest roar of the 10th level was closer, and the call of the complete artifact was already in front of him. The void whirlpool was still spinning around the three of them. Tang Long supported Xiaoxian and Cui Hao carried the giant axe. The three of them crawled out from the depths of the 10th level nest. The air was filled with blood and the pungent smell of shattering space. When I stepped on the unstable ground, I burst into pieces, like the earth was breathing. The movement of the ninth fragment responded like thunder in Tang Long's chest. The four elements in the fire, ice and thunder space were balanced, making him feel as if there was a universe moving in his body. Xiaoxian rubbed the wire chain marks on her wrist, and her purple eyes flashed. Tang Long, your teleportation saved us. But Jingxiong escaped, he would not stop. The ancient scroll shows that the 11th floor is the ultimate test, the Temple of Gods. The last piece of fragments is hidden there, and the artifact is awakened in the first time. Cui Hao spitted out a mouthful of blood, wiped the black blood from the axe blade, and said with a rough voice, "Boy, old Chui's left wing's 8th block has also been obtained." But when he heard that the shock, the collapse accelerated, and the mysteries seemed to be about to explode. Jingxiong, that bastard must be ambushing on the 11th level. The team reunited, rush. Cui Hao's axe was still hot. Tang Long pointed his head and felt a kingly determination in his heart. From the time-traveling vegetable bird to the control of elements now, he is no longer a survivor, but a guardian. The golden finger activates, and the last golden wire shines like a silver river, pointing directly to the crack in front, the 11th level entrance. The last block is in the core of the hall. Let's end all this. The three of them stepped in shoulders, and the crack in the void swallowed them like a giant beast. They didn't see the purple fog. With the low roar underground, the crumbling crack began to expand, and the stone block fell from the wall and smashed into a slight fog. The 11th floor hall is like the collapsed skeletons of ancient divine temples, with scattered earthy smell and invisible magic waves in the air. The walls are cracked rocks, full of dim runes, and the ground is covered with vines and shatters. When you step on it, you will make a rustling friction sound. The far-reaching wind is in the palace, like a god in the whisper. The golden line was stable and stable. Tang Long said in a low voice, the core is in the main hall, but there is a heavy area ahead, multiple boss alliances, and Jingxiong's breath is mixed in. Brother Cui, you are on the top. Xiaoxian, magic helps reduce speed, I will take the fragments directly. Xiaoxian put his staff on his back, and the blue shield spreads open, and the edges merge into the space vortex. The silver flickered, the space magic blessing can keep teleporting smoothly. But the collapsed crack will have elements. Tang Long, be careful to attack with the ring. Cui Hao's axe slammed and grinned, boy, Cui Hao protects your back. Come on, monsters. The entrance of the main hall is like a collapsed arch, pushing the ash surface to smear and mixing the smell of sulfur and frost. The hall is as broad as a competition venue, and the last piece of fragments floats in the central sacrificial fortress, the dazzling golden crystal, moving like a heart. But there are multiple bosses around, a giant thunder and fire, fusing the 9th level of strength, a piece of electric flame, a shadow dragon in the void changes from the 10th level, with wings like black holes swallowing light, and there are also ice guards, blue-white bodies like crystal mountains, and cold breathing like mist. In the shadow of the corner of the wall, Jingxiong appeared with the last 5 elite minions. His wolf-skin armor broke, his blade turned into a decisive magic sword, his eyes were red and red. Tang Long. This alliance was summoned by me as hard as possible. The gods heard my curse. The last fragment is my crown. Your team, die. Jingxiong roared, the magic sword slammed, the black spell fog spread out, and the boss alliance roared and roared. The giant thunder and fire beast was the first to slam the tail of the flames, and the whip was swept across the hall, and the hot waves slid the arc like a tide. Cui Hao's axe slammed and strengthened the buzzing of the armor. He took a step back and shouted, "Boy, Cui Hao's top beast! Xiao Xian, put its tail!" But the attack of the ring had arrived, and the void shadow dragon wing fan whirled black hole, swallowing the light, causing the vision to twist. The ice guards vomited cold breath, the ground slid ice, and the bosses formed an iron triangle to encircle the team. Tang Long's heartbeat accelerated, and the environmental terror made the air solemn. The collapsed cracks expanded from the wall, the stone walls fell and the gray fog spread. He shouted, "Brother Cui, Xiao Xian, scatter. Use the environment to counter." The teleportation was activated, and his body was like a smoke passing through an electric flame. The sword light wrapped the thunder space blade, thrusting straight into the belly of the giant beast. The electric bulge exploded, and the burnt smell smeared his nose. But the shadow dragon black hole locked him, the void claws grabbed him, the space tearing in pain was like a knife. Xiao Xian's ice arrow shot out, blocking the tip of the claws. "Tang Long, teleport and roam. I will slow down the shadow dragon." Cui Hao's axe swirled wildly, hitting the forelimb of the ice guardian. The crystal shattered and sounded like a flake, and the cold chips flew. He growled, "Old Cui Yan is half stiff. Boy, the fragments are approaching, fusing it." But Jing Xiong's minions rushed in, and a shield-holding squid was on the top of Cui Hao, and the other wizard burst out with a black fog, with a sour smell spreading. Cui Hao was hit by a cough, and the axe was slowed by a half-beat, and was hit by the giant beast tail whip, hitting the wall, and blood was scattered. "Don't die. Team, hold on." The attacks in the ring were like a violent wind, and the shadow dragon black hole sucked Xiao Xian's shield. Her magic was exhausted and she knelt down and gasped, "Tang Long. The boss alliance is too strong." Tang Long's heart was infuriated. Seeing his partner slamming, he was panicked since before, and now the king's atmosphere is over. "This is the final trial, I'll end it." The golden line pointed directly at the fortress. He teleported and spread, passing through the flames and cold fog, and the void claws rubbed over his shoulders, tearing his armor and blood slid down. But he gritted his teeth and rushed to the fort, grabbed the golden crystal. The last piece of fragment fell into his palm, and instantly melted into golden light and poured into his body. Full fusion start, artifact preparation of divine power unlock. The host element is fully harmonious, and the divine realm statistics is exploded. Control the surrounding space elements, resolve attacks, convert them into their own power, and crush them in a range. Power is like a cosmic explosion. Tang Long felt like a god awakening in his body, and every element heard his order. Interchange, no longer a hunter, I am the king. When the pleasure exploded, he yelled, "Divine realm open." The golden light spread from the palm of his palm, like an invisible dome covering the hall. The boss alliance's continuous attack hit him, not only not injured, but was resolved by the silence. The electric flame of the giant thunder and fire turned into a golden arc to retaliate against itself. The flake melted, and it roared and twitched. Cui Hao took advantage of the axe to slash, and the head fell, and the blood spring was sprayed, and the heat waves where the evaporation turned into a fog. The black hole of the void shadow dragon was reversed by space force, and the vortex swallowed its wings. The shadow disintegrated like the black fog dissipated. The ice arrow followed, shattered and destroyed, and the crisp and broken waves were shattered. The cold breath of the ice guardian encountered the divine realm, turned into a golden frost chain, and it disappeared from itself. Tang Long teleported and approached, and the sword light wrapped all the elements, and the crystal broke through the core, and the crystal exploded, and the cold light shone like a smoke. The boss alliance collapsed, the hall shook, the collapsed cracks expanded, the stone walls were like spider nets, and the red and black fog sprouted from the ground, and the low roar was approaching like a tide. Jing Xiong's face turned pale, the magic sword was trembling, his minions were dead, and he was the only one left. Impossible, the divine power is first revealed. "You monster!" He rushed in, and the magic sword's black light exploded, and the curse was like a snake swaying towards Tang Long. When I was happy, Tang Long's body was not moving. The golden light of the divine realm flashed, and the black light dissolved into a golden fur and revolted Jin Xiong. He teleported to his body, pointed at his throat and said coldly, "Jin Xiong, from the beginning, you have laughed at me for the birds, crushing fragments, sending assassins, and alliance bosses, just for your ambition, the guild of the guild, controlling the king of the destruction. But you don't understand, the magical weapon, it's not a weapon, it's guard. The mystery is about to collapse, and the tide of monsters in the mainland will swallow everything. Your selfishness will only accelerate the destruction. The inner self is growing like a crown. Tang Long's eyes are full of pity and dominance. He will be killed in anger before, but now it's the king who looks down on him. Come on, the guild will appease you. But remember, this world needs heroes, not tyrants." Jin Xiong fell to the ground, knelt down and coughed blood. His eyes turned to resentment. "Boy, you won. But high level, they want to." Before he finished speaking, Cui Hao slapped his axe, smashed him, and said with a rough voice, "Boy, the king's style." Cui Hao was convinced. "In this battle, the team became a legend because of you." Xiao Xian stood up, the blue light was injured, and she smiled and said, "Tang Long, your electricity changes." The artifact had just woken up, and we were in a state of silence. But the hall was shaken, and the red fog rushed in like a tide. The monster growled and was close at hand, and the black shadows in the cracks were flashing. Tang Long held a tight sword. Jin Jing moved the whole set, and his divine power was like a tide. Partners, fragments gathered, but the crisis has not stopped. Calling the magical artifact, reversed and collapsed the final try. The three of them shouldered, and the sorrow that hid in the wind to the mainland, forced the climax like an arrow in the string. The ground of the hall was shaking like a living creature, and the fog of crumbs flowed in like blood tide. Every breath was filled with the smell of rotten iron lenses, the falling sway of stone blocks and the roar of monsters from far away. The fragments on Tang Long's chest were moving like war drums, and the entire element of the fire, ice, and thunder space gathered. The golden crystal light reflected Cui Hao's beard face and Xiao Xian's purple eyes. He took a deep breath, held the handle tightly, and his voice was as firm as steel. "Brother Cui, Xiao Xian, this is the end. The magical weapon summons the core of the sacrificial supreme. I will hit the head of the source. You hold the tide, Brother Cui, open the road with the axe. Xiao Xian, the boundary is full. Our team will go against the will of heaven and change our fate." Cui Hao laughed loudly, and the giant axe was swept away, and the blood left on the axe blade flashed in the golden light. He patted Tang Long's shoulder, and the force was as heavy as ever. "Boy, from the day you were swept, old Cui knew you were not immortal. Go, this monster wave." Cui Hao was on the top of his head. "Xiao Xian, let's protect him from the back." He turned around and rushed towards the hall door. The axe was swirling like a wind. The first wave of monsters, the twisted group of collapsed beasts, burst out from the cracks. Their bodies were like lava and merged with the deformed fusion of the void, and their minions were carrying red and black fogs, and their roars made their eardrums buzz. Cui Hao's axe blade slashed into the head's chest, and the flesh and blood ripped out, and the sound of the fishy and hot smoke swelled up. He growled, "Come on, beasts. You can't touch Lao Chui's home." Xiao Xian points his head, his staff is high, and the blue light boundary opens like a giant net, melting the silver, and the space whirls swaying and swaying to the collapsed wall. She gasped and said, "Tang Long, your growth makes me believe in life. To merge the magical artifact, I will hold the cracks in the space." The buzzing bird in the boundary, squeezing the monster's claws, and the frost wire shot out, squeezing the legs of several front men, shattering and sounding like a flaming sound. But the monster tide is like a sea of storms, and the red fog swirls into the edge of the boundary. She grits her teeth and strengthens, and the sweat beads slide down the head, and the purple eyes flashes. "Hold on, the team will never disperse." Tang Long teleported and activated, his body shaped like a smoke passing through the hall, shuttled through the collapsed stone blocks. Every step was accompanied by the crackling sound of the space, and the red fog was grabbed by a touching hand, burning and painful like fire. He was alone in his heart. From the modern keyboard to the leader, "I no longer escape. Home is waiting for me, but this world also needs me to protect it. The golden line pointed directly at the depth of the sacrificial accord, and the core boss's roar was approaching. It was the head of the collapsed source. A giant void demon crawled out of the cracks underground. His body was like a black-red whirlpool, and his touched hands were numerous. Each piece was filled with elements. His eyes were like a blood moon, his roaring time and space were twisted, and the walls of the palace were shattered like paper. Boy, do you think the gathering fragments won? Xing Xiong's smile came from the demon god. He actually climbed onto the boss's shoulder. The demon sword inserted into the void body, and used the power to control the touch. The scar on his face was twisted, and his eyes were as resentful as fire. I have known the secret of the magic weapon in the high-level alliance. This collapse was detonated by me, for the purpose of sacrificing your divine power and becoming the true king. Team? Go and die. He swept the sword, and the black-red fog shot like a rain of arrows, and the touch of the demon god's touch was swept, and the space waves shook the air, and the buzzing bird was harsh. Tang Long teleported his body to avoid the rain of arrows. The sword light wrapped in the thunder space blade, and the touching hand was counterattacked, and the electric scent exploded, and the burnt smell spread. But Xing Xiong was precise in control. His touch was like a net encirclement. His shoulders were hit, his blood was slid down, and his pain was like a soul tearing. Cui Hao yelled from the palace gate, "Boy, Cui Hao is killing Red Eyes. The monster is swaying, but this boss, you go." The axe cleared a wave of tide, and the flesh and blood were flying. Cui Hao was covered in blood and laughed endlessly. Xiao Xian shook the boundary and the monster claws grabbed cracks. She whispered softly and strengthened, "Tang Long, get close to you. The artifact is in the core of the demon god, fuse it." Dangers were everywhere. Tang Long felt his heart swelled, and he instantly 5 meters away, approaching the demon god's body. The touching hands danced wildly, the red fog fell like a sour rain, burning the skin, but the golden light of his divine realm was slightly flashed, and most of it was resolved, and his heart was determined. This is the last step in the transformation of electricity, from self-protection to saving the world. He climbed the demon god's shoulders, stabbed Xing Xiong's demon sword. Sparks were filled with 4 sparks. Xing Xiong retreated, and his blade slammed out. "Boy, you'll destroy everything." But after Tang Long teleported, he pressed the demon god's core position with one palm. The golden crystal spiraled, and the whole set of fragments exploded like a galaxy. Complete fusion of magical tools, ancient divine power awakens. The host becomes the master of the divine beast, summons the elemental army, reverses and collapses, and destroys the power of heaven and earth. The golden light exploded like the sun, and Tang Long felt like a god descending in his body, and the elements turned into an ocean without any consequences. He shouted, "The power of the divine is fully opened, summon the divine ball army." It exploded with pleasure. The golden light of the body of the sacrificial fortress condenses, fire flakes emerge from the palm of the palm, wings are burning in burning red fog, hot waves evaporate monsters, burning smells sniffle, ice dragons rotate, cold breath swells into the void touching hands, shattering and sounding like thunder, thunder horns are slammed, electric arcs kill the demon god armor, thunder shaking the palace, the wolf pack teleports around, biting the minions and teeth of Xing Xiong torch the party, flesh and blood are flying, and the cry is called roaring. The divine evil army turned backwards like a tide, the monsters collapsed, the red fog retreated, the cracks in the hall began to merge, the stone walls were repaired like living things, and the low roar turned into mourning birds. Xing Xiong glared, and the demon sword shook. Impossible. God's ball? He madly controlled the demon to rebel, and his touching hand twitched at Tang Long like a whip, but the divine power was completely resolved, and the touching hand exploded into gold powder, which backed the demon's body and whirlpooled. Cui Hao laughed and rushed over. The axe used the lightning of the divine beast to hit the demon god's leg. "Boy, it's amazing." Cui Hao was happy to follow. Xiao Xian turned the world and attacked, and the ice silk swayed Xing Xiong. "The team is successful, Tang Long, your transformation, we will verify." Tang Long's body was like a god, teleporting straight into the core of the demon god, and the sword light wrapped the power of the divine beast, and penetrated the core with one blow. The power of the sky and earth exploded, the golden light was like a nuclear explosion, the demon roared and disintegrated, the red and black fog turned into smoke and dissipated, the collapsed source shattered, the hall shook and calmed down, and the earth was as stable as a new life. Come and have a second chance. Jing Xiong fell from the slaughter, kneeling down to cough up blood. The magic sword broke. He looked up at Tang Long, his eyes remorseful. Boy. I'm wrong. Ambitions have destroyed everything. High-level silence. I'm just a pawn. You are the king of legendary masters. He lowered his head, his voice trembling. Give me. I'm willing to punish the crime and help the guild to stabilize the world. Tang Long took the sword, and the golden light reflected his face. He looked down at Jing Xiong, and his voice was like a king's verdict. Jing Xiong, from ridicule to the north of the world, you have witnessed my way. It was too late to repent, but the collapse stopped, and the mainland was safe. Go to the guild and surrender yourself. It's not for me, but for this world. Cui Hao pointed at the axe and stood up. Boy, the king will not be killed. Old Cui will take him away. Xiao Xian smiled, and the blue light injured the monster. Tang Long, your kindness is really strong. The artifact is full, and the golden crystal on Tang Long's chest turns into an illusion door, the passage to return to the original world. The door is flashing with modern lights, and the familiar coffee fragrance is transmitted. He looked at the door and felt a lot of trouble in his heart. His family was summoning, but his partner's smile and his hilarious call made him hesitate. Cui Hao patted his shoulder. Boy, will you go back? Cui Hao understands, you are a hero. Xiao Xian shook his hand, her purple eyes softly. No matter what, we are family. Tang Long smiled, his inner energy was changing like a tide, from a lonely office worker who worked overtime to a guardian of this strange world. I changed, no longer escape, learn teams, courage, and responsibility. Going home is a dream, but protecting this land is the new destination. He snatched his hands and his divine power opened forever. The door never closes. I will go back to see my family. But now, I stay become the king of legends, the palace of stable and the mainland. Brother Cui, Xiao Xian, together? Cui Hao laughed, of course. Old Cui's axe will be defeated for you. Xiao Xianqing said, the team will last forever. Tang Long. Outside the hall, the sunlight fell, the collapse stopped, the monster tide disappeared, the guild hunters rushed in, and the winery was brightly lit. Tang Long and the other two walked out side by side, and Jing Xiong followed with his head down and surrendered himself to the guild. High-level chants are exposed, the world regains peace, the maze level is stable, and the artifact is shining forever. Tang Long looked at the sky, and his heart was satisfied like a warm current. This road, from confusion to the king, I have no regrets. The world is no longer a prison, but a home. The wine glasses collided, the laughter sounded, and the legend opened up.